So you guys ready? Cat TV? Okay. All right, so I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Pownal Select Board for a regular meeting on Thursday, July 11th, 2019 at 7 p.m. So on the agenda tonight are agenda approval of minutes for 6/24 in special meeting for 6/27 and 7/8 special meeting. The warrants, mail, public comment, town administrator's report, signature sheet process during meetings, discussion of newsletter, Hoosick Trail update, permission to bid on 1-ton pickup, meet and greet at Solomon Wright Library, July 17th, 8 a.m. to 9. Vermont Public Records Inspection, copying transmission policy, park policy, use policy for park, discuss listers, consideration of health officer, chamber application, $85 from TA, sign and name for trail being cleared. Then old business, Pauline Gutlow regarding update on town office project. New business, nothing listed. Then executive personnel if necessary for personnel on 2 separate ones. So,
Motion to accept the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add 2 items to the agenda, please. Up under warrants, I'd like to add information from the Economic Development Committee by Chairman McLenithan. And I'm wondering if we can do that right after warrants so that she can get home to her family. And I'd like to add an item under new business, which is the re-signing of the mandated conflict of interest policy from the state of Vermont, because there was an error on page 2. And if approved, I'd like to just send it around for signature because we don't need to wait.
Would you speak on signature pages if you would like to hold that for a bit?
I'm sorry,
We're going to speak on signature sheet processes.
Oh.
One of my first items.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda with the amendments for the warrants, for the info and economic development, and for the re-signing of the COI.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with changes. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. All right, so I'll hear a motion to approve the minutes for 6/24, 27, and 7/8.
I'd like to okay, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for said dates. Is there any discussion on these? Okay, all in favor of approving say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, on to the warrants. Okay, so the warrants for payroll ending 6/30/2019 in the amount of $12,350.93. Payroll ending 7/7/19 in the amount of $12,005.43. Accounts payable 52A 6/29/19, the amount of $3,726.62. Accounts payable number 1 7/5/19 and the amount of $70,962.95. And accounts payable number 2 on 7/12/19 in the amount of $11,920.78. So, I'll hear a motion to approve the warrants.
Motion to approve the warrants.
Second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the warrants. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mike, would you like to update us on the mail, please?
Nope.
Were we
Oh, wait, sorry.
changing the sequence?
Shannon.
Shannon,
My bad.
Ms. McLennan,
Sorry,
it's
Shannon.
okay.
I really want you to stick around.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask the board to reconsider the committee structure for the Economic Development Committee that was recently formed. Originally, it was structured to have 9 committee members. It has been a struggle to get 9 members at the table at the same time, not having a quorum and essentially making us ineffective and unable to carry on with business. So last night we discussed having a committee of 5, which seems to be the number we land at most evenings. So I'd like the board to reconsider the restructure from 9 to 5 members so we can be productive and move forward.
When are you scheduled to meet next?
Second Wednesday in August.
Yeah.
So is the proposal 9 voting members? I mean, I'm sorry, 5 voting members,
5
and then
voting members.
and then
Do you have 5 that have been consistently showing up?
Yes.
Or is it kind of a hodgepodge of the 9?
No, it's been 5 that.
So you have members that have never showed that?
It's actually been 4 that are consistent,
Yeah.
Okay.
which with a group of 9, 4 is not a quorum, so
No.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And we've also had a couple of resignations, so.
Okay.
We didn't know about that.
Well, I would say, should we put it on the agenda for our next meeting? Because I don't think we can vote on that.
yeah, it's our committee, so, I mean, it's a committee of the select board, so we can,
And you guys voted for it to begin with.
We did, but it's because we haven't warned it. That was my concern.
Well, we kind of don't
No.
see a problem with
We
that.
want to
Okay.
do it.
All right.
Motion to approve to change the Economic Development Committee to consist of 5 members?
I'll
do
second
we
that.
want to
Well, I was gonna say,
change the language to 5 voting members?
5 voting members.
yeah. All right, so, was there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second to change the voting member structure for the Economic Development Committee from 9 to 5.
Oh,
Sorry, did I say that wrong?
No, but you didn't, you hadn't added for discussion yet.
Well, no, we have a motion and a second, and I was about to say, is there any discussion?
Okay.
And then we would vote.
That's what I was.
Do you have something to say?
You had your hand
So,
going
I
before I had a
want to
chance to
know
say
if the
it.
chair of the committee can take and give us the names of the 5 people that are,
Yeah, because we have to eliminate the other ones.
Well,
Well,
that way-
she's already had resignations.
well, you have 2 resignations. Obviously, we're going to have to take and send letters for the 2 others that are not participating.
Agreed.
So that's all I was.
Those are, the one non-participating's already stepped out, so we have Michael, Carol, I'm gonna
Cheryl.
Gerald,
Petrozello.
Petrozello.
thank you. I knew I
Petrozello.
saw it. Myself, and then
John Bushy.
John
John
Bushy.
Bushy, and then Matt Barron.
Matt Burrow.
So
Okay.
that way we. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so do you want to strike that motion and start over and with the names listed? To approve it at 5 voting members with the names listed?
I don't think we need to specify the names because if someone steps down next month, somebody else new might come in.
That's true, we're going to be
keeping it to
changing.
5.
Right.
Somebody's
Okay.
going to resign.
Should
We
we
just-
say it as a minimum of 5, because we may have somebody who wants to join that
Right.
potentially would
Okay.
want to
All
consider.
right, we'll just leave it at 5.
That's a good point. Should we say a minimum of 5, but an odd number? And then that way we can, and then we can,
Yeah.
that's a very good point. We don't want to tell somebody no if they want to be a part of the committee.
But they have
No,
to.
that's true.
But we,
Well, we could have it at 5 and then just have alternates,
yeah,
similar to what the planning commission used to be.
yep. Because in that way, if somebody else comes on,
Maybe a minimum of
then
5,
they
but
don't.
maximum of 7, so we have a little bit of buffer, but not unlimited either.
So a minimum of 5
I just-
voting members with 2 alternates.
Why don't we just leave it at the minimum of 5? And
Yeah,
if
and then-
there's that much interest, we can always come back and change it again. Not like people are knocking on the door, they're not showing up.
That'd be a great problem to have.
Cover our case.
All right, so we'll just change it to 5. We can revisit it later if necessary. All right, so we had a motion and a second. We had discussion. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, you have a smaller committee.
Well, you already had one, but now it's official.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now you can pass the
Okay.
minutes.
All right, Mike, on to the mail.
I have an initial letter from Mass DOT indicating Pan Am Southern Railroad is beginning, doesn't give any dates, but it's going to begin to do construction on certain portions of the rail along the Hoosick in order to, that track be able to carry double stacked cars. Of interest to us is the Hoosick River Bridge, although it legally sits in New York. It's the Hoosick River Bridge, and they want to let us know that they're going to be working on that, and I'll pass that around. Next, sir, we have a town of Pownal Sheriff's report, or he's the Bennington County Sheriff. We had 8 instances of casework, 1 larceny, 2 welfare checks, 58 directed patrols, 5 property checks, 6 tickets, 9 traffic stops, 3 stolen property, 2 public relations events, 2 interviews of suspects, 1 stolen vehicle, and 1 domestic, for a total of 136 hours, and the rate of pay at $38, and that's going to go up to 40, and we're going to get going up to 40 hours, going to 30 hours. It's going up in hours.
Marlena?
Can I make a request that we post that to our website so that during our meetings we can be a little bit more efficient with our time? And then that way, if people want to see exactly what the sheriff did, they can just go to the website and pull it up and look.
After this.
Unless there's something specific to a cost increase or something that, you know, we want to draw attention to.
I'm fine with it being posted to the website. It's public information. I don't see where it would be, I don't think we'd be violating anything by posting it to the website.
You want to do that in lieu of me giving you a report?
No, you don't need to, I don't think you need to read off everything that they did. I think having it so that we can see it is good, but then posting it to the website so that the public can see is fine. It just makes it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. You can just say refer to the website and we can have handouts here for the public that shows up.
Okay. And you also have from the treasurer checklist for internal controls, part 1 and 2, for your review. In addition, from the treasurer, you have a treasurer's report ending March 31st, receiving $4,219 towards the municipal planning grant, and have not received any expenses from the Bennington County Regional Commission at this time. Records are available to be reviewed. She has not invested town monies to this date. The spending is not predictable to lock money into a CD or an investment. And it's signed Ellen Strohmeyer, treasurer. And that is for your review. That concludes the mail, sir.
Okay. All right, so moving on to public comment. You were first. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Jenny Dewar. I'm calling to let you know. I'm here to just let everyone know about a town tag sale that we're putting together. So it's a tag sale, flea market, vendors, anyone who wants to have a table or have a space to do something. I'm figuring about a 10 by 10 space in various locations around town.
On the same day?
All on the same day. It's going to be September 7th. It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So far, we have the Harwood Homestead, Cherry Court, which is Doug's Place on 3346 and 7, Faith Church, the Town Green here, Jeff Egan's lawn here right on the corner, that big lawn in the corner of Center Street and North Pownal Road. And it's in conjunction with the senior tag sale that they have annually at the fire station. So we're just tagging onto them. I'm asking if other people would like to host at their homes or their places, just as long as they can fit 5 tables or 5 10 by 10s, and have parking. That would be the requisite to be a part of the marketing of it. I mean, of course, if you have a tag sale that day, you can have a tag sale that day. But and then I'm asking everybody who participates to give $5. Not $25. I heard that there was some mention of $25, but it's $5, with the exception of the seniors who always have had their sale, and the exception of anyone who's actually hosting sales. And that money is going to go towards the marketing, water, garbage bags. I'm going to put together maps. All of that costs money. Signs around town directing people to the various sales. Any money that's left over from that will go to treats that will be at the sales, juices, whatever. So, just wanted to let you know. Cool.
Who is the contact person that they should reach out to?
Me. So jennydew35@gmail.com. JENNYDEW35@gmail.com to sign up to either sell. Let me know what you want to sell, where you want to sell it with those places, or just communicate with me and we can go back and forth.
Can I just ask a couple clarifying questions?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to participate, I would contact you,
Yeah.
and I could say I either want to be a host facility and I can fit 5 10 by 10s in my
Yeah.
yard so people can come and share my home. Or I can say, I'd like to participate, but can I please have a spot down at Mr. Zemeckis' place down on
Exactly.
346 and 7?
Yes.
And then the cost for me would be $5,
Correct.
and that would go towards the advertising,
Yep.
the signage around town,
Yep.
garbage bags, treats, water, in addition to the website and the maps.
Yep.
Saying, hey, there's
Yeah.
a group here, a group here, a group there, and a
Yeah,
group there.
and at each location, I don't know if I'll have a table, maybe just a table with the maps, rather than giving it to each vendor. But at each place you go to, then you'll be able to find the maps to take you to the other.
And then so wherever you start, you get a map, and then you can just go
Yeah.
and hit them all.
Yeah, and so I'm sort of modeling this after Arlington has been doing this annually, and in fact, Bennington is doing one this Saturday, I just found out. So I'll be going to that and seeing what they're doing, what goes well and what doesn't go well, so that we
Is
do it
Bennington,
better.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Is Bennington doing it all in one place, or is it sort of?
It's all
spots
around.
over?
You go to the library to get maps. Mhm. But they're having one location where you get the map, and I think we're gonna have maps at all the locations. So if you stumble onto a sale, then you can still direct people to the other ones.
Can get you to go
What are you
around.
expecting?
I have no idea. You know, I mean, I would love to have a lot. I have a pretty large database of press release people because I used to do the marketing at Williams. So I have a huge press release list, and I'll send it to the Berkshires up through Manchester. So I'll be marketing it not just to Pownal, but to everybody in the area. Bring people into Pownal.
And again, if community members want to have their own personal tag sale at their own home that day, that is
Of course.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying they can't.
No, of course.
They just won't be advertised on the maps or
No.
part of your marketing campaign.
Yeah, I mean, if someone wants to have it at their home, but they don't have space for someone, I suppose they could pay $5 and be on the map. Sure. I mean, it's not hard and fast rules. It's just, you know.
Okay, thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other public comment? Ray had his hand up first. Introduce yourself to the camera, please.
Introduce yourself to the camera.
Oh, Ray Rodriguez, heading up the Recreation Task Force. As you know, the Vermont Youth Conservation Corps has been clearing a trail from the hydroelectric plant to the wastewater treatment facility and along the berm. As of now, they're essentially done, except for a little bit of cleaning up. And tomorrow we're having an open brown bag lunch at 11:30 for the community members to come and listen to them and hear what they do.
Ray, you're actually on the agenda.
Hey, bye.
Yeah, for Who's
Yeah.
It Trail update.
Oh,
So this is public comment.
okay. Didn't know.
Well, I mean, well, we can finish, but if you can just, no, you can finish. I'm just saying.
Keep going.
I thought he had something that he needed us to sign.
No.
I was gonna say he can't do that yet. But yeah, you can give you can say what you want to say. I'm sorry.
Proposals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
The Recreation Committee would like two things, and I've sent you emails with that, and I've got copies of exactly what was on the email for anybody who still needs a copy. One is to have a sign placed just at the gate with regulations related to that, do's and don'ts. And the other is to give a name to the trail.
Thank you.
So you have a draft of what might be on the sign, and that's what I'm here to ask for your permission to do, or any amendments that you think we should make to it.
It's not the Michael A. Walker Trail.
Yes.
Two questions. My first question is, the information that you want to put on your sign, where did all of that come from?
Basically.
Because I know that this has been in the works for a long time.
Basically from our committee. We've just brainstormed, but we didn't want to do anything that the town would not approve of and support. Or anything that would conflict with the town's own regulations.
Okay. And then, who spearheaded the whole trail thing?
Well,
Was
The
it
recreation.
was it the Recreation Task Force?
Recreation Task Force.
Can I add something? Bruce Martell was very involved in that as well.
Right.
So we were talking about with Discover Pownal to have some sort of something for Bruce to commemorate him and to say thank you for the work he put into it. And I don't know if that means building something and having kids color it, or having a plaque of some sort, or so that's another thing I wanted to add.
To do what, like
Somewhere.
maybe put it at the trailhead or something,
Yeah,
kind of
something.
in memoriam to,
Yeah.
to Bruce?
Mhm.
Can I ask a question? In naming the trail, what's the process? Do you name it, or put it out to public comment, or have school kids come up with ideas? Or?
No, we did. It was just brainstormed within the committee itself.
This is kind of
And we're open to recommendations.
It's gonna be driven by
if
policy.
the name we're suggesting isn't
I
approved.
guess it'd be kind of neat to involve the kids and to be involved in it because then it creates some ownership and excitement and publicity for the trail itself. So just a suggestion.
What is the opening date that you think will be when the trail is actually open for use? Is it like mid-August or something?
Well,
or
it's
early
actually
August?
open for use now.
Okay.
I mean, anybody can go there now. But there's still a second week of the work of Vermont Youth Court, and that is to put in a boardwalk from the circular parking area to the berm itself, so that people who want to carry kayaks, canoes, or whatever across can do that, and hopefully trucks won't be driving to the berm as they have been doing recently.
I
So
don't
that
want,
will be in the middle of August that they will be here again.
Okay.
So you might say, after that's finished, then that would really be a time we can officially open.
And celebrate it
Yes.
and
Ribbon
maybe
cutting or something?
come up with an
Ribbon
idea.
cutting or something?
Something like that, yes.
Pardon me, I think Bob had something he wanted to say.
yes, it's just, I don't think, we need to talk about the policy, right? We shouldn't be driving policy with a sign. The sign should reflect our policy. And it's just, that's how we ought to do it. And it is town property, so
Right.
we
Exactly.
need to get input from the town as to what they think ought to be used, what this area ought to be used for, and that sort of thing. Pass the policy, then I no problem with the sign, as long as it adheres to a policy that we actually pass as a board.
Nelson, you got your hand up?
Yeah, a couple things to do with this recreation area. One of the concerns is I know what you're talking about policy, but where you've got this trail is really EPA certified mound and the rest. You have to go through the EPA to get permission.
Right, the
Right.
entire,
And one of the permissions is that you cannot tear up this thing with ATV vehicles and so
Right.
forth with the hiking. So when you look at the policy, it's not just the town. What I'm gonna say is that you got EPA regulations,
Right.
you got Agency of Natural Resources regulations. For this area that's in question here where this trail is put in,
Right.
and that's where we should go with that. I was gonna have one more public comment, because you're talking about it coming from the hydro down. One of the things is that William Scully, the one that we leased the hydro to, has been after the railroad to fix up something that really belongs to the town. When they went through and did some brush hogging here a year or so ago, they destroyed part of the barbed wire on the fence. They hit your guardrail posts that you have down in that area and so forth. And I know I worked with the state trying to get something done too. But I would say that the town should send a letter making it clear that you will be repairing this if they don't and sending them the bill. Because it's town property that they destroyed. Not Bill Scully, who's doing all the legwork of trying to get them to fix it. And the rest, you own it. And if we don't fix it so it looks better so when people are down there and they park there, I think that's a reflection on us. And I think we're the ones then that have to go really after the railroad, not let Bill Scully or, I've been trying to talk with the Department of Transportation for the state, and it's the same thing, that they get the same thing that he's getting when they try to reach down there. But the owners of the property probably have more teeth than both of these other groups.
Correct.
So that's at the head of where you're going. And there is a canoe launch there, I think, also.
Yes.
Right.
Which you want to clean out, so it's just.
right. I mean, I've been on that berm when kids have driven from the railroad tracks across the field down into the wetlands area, and then roared along the service road with four-wheelers and dirt bikes, even though they're not supposed to. And while the town had placed a couple boulders at the gate there, someone moved the boulders so we could just go through. So that's one of the reasons for the no motorized.
Harry's
I
got
think,
something.
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna read what they proposed this, as far as the signage. It says the trail will be open from dusk to dawn every day. The gate is open from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's an access road to the sewage treatment plant area where they're gonna take and make their, the other path going to. The trail is kept clean by the community volunteers, so please join us in picking up trash and carrying it out. Put your back in, pack out. Simple. I say common sense, I know it's not tolerated. Dogs are welcomed on a leash or under voice control. And it should be added that you
I was
can
gonna
pick
say,
up.
we have a
pick-
leash law in Pownal, so.
And enjoy your fishing, picnics, kayaking, bird watching, other activities. What's prohibited is motorized vehicles, hunting, open fires, and removing and disturbing any vegetation along the trail or stream. That part there and the, covers a lot of what the EPA does. So Ray, the committee has done pretty good due diligence on that. And between the signage here and our recent rec policy, I think we've got a lot of that covered. So I think, just want to say good job. And thank
It
you.
was a nice job. And to Nelson's point, I think that ought to be, obviously, whatever we get from town input and whatever we end up with a policy, the more restrictive would apply, right? We can't lower state requirements, we can
No.
only tighten them down. But we need to make sure that we're not passing policy by approving a sign. We need to make sure that that we're adhering to policy.
Right.
Yeah, the sign should reflect the policy, like you said.
Correct.
And we've got no objection to that, because we'd like to diminish.
Right.
Right, and because it's town property
Right.
and you're a private organization, we need to get citizen input, I think, so it's probably good to post this.
Right. That's why I decided.
Marlena has something.
So I just want to clarify, are we taking, under the dogs are welcome on a leash, are we removing or under voice control because Pownal has a leash law?
I would think, because we have a leash law in town.
Yeah, we have a leash.
So, I mean-
Right.
Well, we can just make sure that it adheres to our leash law. We probably gotta go look at it. Because maybe we do allow voice control, who knows?
Well, I just want to make sure that if a dog is out, because I can,
Well, we're not
if I have a
approving.
dog and I consider my dog on voice control, but it goes up and it bites somebody.
Right. But we're not approving this right now. This is.
No,
Yeah.
No, I know, but Ray wants to move on, his considerations for getting a sign. He's not going to go home and paint it. I'm sure he has to order it.
Well, we could have the elementary
Just
school
mind
paint it. Get the kids involved.
That's true.
Okay,
Thank you.
when were you looking for a decision on this? Were you looking for us to approve this tonight?
No, we can wait. But I would like you, to know that this is what we like, and if you modify it, you modify it. That's fine with us.
So,
Pauline Gutlow. I'm just curious, Ray, what name do you have in mind?
Well, we were thinking of Hoosick Bend Trail.
Who's it then?
So we mulled over different types, and the committee felt it ought to be something geographical, so that people could recognize it for that reason, as opposed to somebody's name, for example.
The Hoosick Straight Trail was less interesting.
Nelson, you have
One more thing, because you're talking about signs, and I'm still sitting there. So they can't have anything over 10 square feet in size, otherwise they've got to go through a whole permitting process through the DRC.
so no billboards.
So make sure that your sign is limited in size. I know you want it to be seen, but don't.
So we're not talking about one of those welcome signs where people can sign the book, like on the Appalachian Trail, to say they were here.
Not unless you give them
That'll be the second sign underneath.
There we go.
We, just for your own information, we are hopeful to have other signs. For example, we'd like people to park at the town garage area, so saying something like trail parking here would be fine. We'd also like to have at least 2 signs, one at the gate and one somewhere near the town garage, that show a map of that trail so people can see where they are and where it actually goes. And those are
I think those are good
Yeah,
ideas.
those are great ideas.
Now, in terms of turning the name over to a process, I don't know how to go about doing something like that. That's all I can say.
Well, why don't we put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and we
Get
can warn it for the public to come in, and people can bring suggestions, and we'll have a little discussion and see if we can come up with something then. If there's no better proposals, we can stick with the one you initially suggest and change it if we want to then.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Amelia Silver. I'm the secretary of Discover Pownal. And I'm here calling, just like you, I'm calling, I spent all my life on the phone. I'm here because I have a question about the community calendar. Discover Pownal has provided events that are happening all around Pownal and that are put onto the town website. And we provide the information, and the lists of activities that we provide, they seem to be sort of picked and chosen through, and some things are not listed. And I just want to know, is there on the newsletter?
The calendar is embedded on the
Oh,
website.
it's on the newsletter. So I just wanted to know, is there a policy, was there a decision by the select board to not include certain kinds of activities or businesses, or what's going on? Because it seems weird to have some activities that we have provided information about that consistently are not put in the newsletter. So,
Sure, I can
Well,
speak
I was
to
gonna
that.
say,
Well, let me,
well, Bob's the one who crafts the newsletter for
Oh,
us. So.
I was
so
just
the
gonna ask
previous
if-
board did vote, and I was trying to adhere to that, but
Oh.
it gets very difficult to do. But the previous board voted 4-1 to not include business advertisements. So I was trying to stick to that, but it makes it very difficult. But it's kind of difficult when we have,
well, these
Because it's
things that
perfectly-
we've put, that we are sharing, are not business advertisements. They're activities that are happening.
Do you have
around
specific
town.
examples of stuff?
Yeah, I have some plant sale at Wildstone Farm, a flute recital of a Pownal senior who's going to college, clay retreat at Sedlock Pottery, free pottery workshop, Sarsaparilla Day Camp.
Those
I
were
took
or
whatever
weren't
was.
included?
They were not included. They were
No,
taken off.
2 months ago, I didn't include the, some of the workshops.
Yeah.
Because they're $300, it's business advertising. Business advertising. I was just trying to be principled and stick to exactly that.
So
As far as I know, I
farmers
didn't.
market, the farmers markets are always advertised, though. I mean, are always listed, and that's business advertising. So what criteria is being used?
Well, that's kind of my question also. Is
Yeah.
well, I can speak to it if you want me to.
Well, I would like for the select board to tell me what your thinking is, and to tell me that you have some sort of guiding policy about this. You referred to a decision that was made by the select board at some time in the past that I wasn't aware of, about not listing businesses.
It's not listing businesses, it's not allowing advertising
Yeah.
on the municipal website and in our newsletter.
Okay, so I think this is a really interesting distinction, and I would like to know what the whole select board thinks about it, because here's my point of view. Discover Pownal, as you all know, is a volunteer organization that our goal and our mission is to boost Pownal, to boost activities here, to make people aware of things that are happening here. And if there are workshops, if there are camps, if there are farmers markets, if there are plant sales, if there's fundraisers for somebody going to college, those are the heart and soul of our community. They are part of what's happening here. The fact that there are individuals who this may be part of the business that they run should not disqualify them. We're not, this town is not some sort of sacred nonprofit that shouldn't be showcasing the wonderful things that we have available. I just feel as if there needs to be something, I need to hear a more developed rationale than that it's advertising a business.
Well, sure, I can speak to it. So, we have tried on multiple occasions and have put forth something that I feel we ought to have, which is a very definitive website policy. What is and isn't appropriate content for our website and for our newsletter, so that it's not subjective. Because it starts to get to be subjective. Now, one thing we had decided as a board, and we had mentioned it in multiple meetings, is that no material changes to our website would ever occur without the board voting on it. We kind of sidestepped that because somewhere around the February-March timeframe, we started putting the content out there. And it was never brought before the board.
Well, I would say
Now-
at this point, hear me out.
Sure.
No, this is public comment, so we're starting to dive into
The comment.
policy. So I would say at this point, we need to halt this discussion and put it onto a future agenda. and that I would agree with what Bob just said, we should come up with a definitive policy on what is and is not allowed.
And it's
Well,
been
no,
proposed
that-
multiple
then-
times.
That
It
is
hasn't gone
exactly
forward.
what I'm requesting, is that this body articulate a clear policy that has a clear rationale. And if you're gonna be doing that, obviously, there probably needs to be the opportunity for public comment from
Absolutely.
people in the town to come in and talk about it.
Oh,
Because it
definitely.
just-
This would be
right.
this would
This
be
is the
done.
first
This would
I'm
be done
hearing
in
it, so
open
yeah.
meeting.
Great.
It's not going to be behind closed doors.
Right, right.
And we
Okay.
post it to the website just like we do any other policy.
So Marlena had her
This is-
hand up first. So.
Okay.
So, thank you, Amelia, very much. I think that when we do have discussion about this, we should hold it as a special meeting so that the public can come and give input. Because I think what I'm hearing from Amelia is it's a calendar of events that are occurring. So if there's a concert in the park, you're advertising the band. The band is a business. Whether they're doing it for free or not, you're advertising it. But it's a calendar of events and things that are happening around the community. There's no, if I'm understanding you correctly, there's no limitation to who can ask to have their event or their business
On their
event
calendar,
on your
Discover
calendar.
Yeah,
Correct,
Discover
correct.
Pownal is not part of the Pownal
So I
town
think-
website.
correct.
They
So I-
can post whatever they want on their calendar.
Right, so making the point that there's a substantial difference between what we put on as content on our municipal website and putting links to private organizations that take you off of our website into their website. The standard is, I would assume, would be much lower for a link to go to somebody else's website because it takes you off of our website.
Yeah.
But, and it's not about who the organization is or how good the content is, it's about principles and policy. And I think we've got a question for it.
Chris, I guess my question is, because it is a separate organization or a separate calendar, and trying to take the town out of it, could you just simply put for a calendar of events with the Discover link, but then you put a speed bump? This is, you're now leaving the town of Pownal website, and you'll be going to
Right.
three, so
That
then you
makes
kind of
sense.
disclose that we're not owning this,
Right.
and it's going here.
I think
Yep.
that's a
Well,
very
that's a
good
good
point. I
idea.
like the suggestion because it
Well, like I
then
just said,
removes
we're,
it
we're
from our-
delving into policy
Yeah, you're
debate,
getting
so
into
we
the
need to,
discussion.
yeah.
Right.
we
And
need
I
to
have a
sys-
whole other,
Reel it back in.
I have a whole other thing about it. I was just, I wanted to ask, I was asked if our calendar could be embedded on the website. And I said, sure. So the calendar was embedded on the website. I don't know what your guys' conversation was about that, but it's a Google Calendar that I created and that it was embedded on the website. I asked back in May, then I asked again in June, for Discover Pownal to be acknowledged for that calendar. It was acknowledged on the website, but I had also asked for it to be acknowledged on the newsletter, and it never was. Why?
Well, as the one who does the newsletter, I don't think it was appropriate for that until we had a website policy, which I think we've proposed that 3 different times now, and it's never moved forward. But until you have a website policy, and there's a big, I wasn't going to make an issue of it.
But
I
it
did
was your
notice the
decision?
change.
Is that what you're saying? It was your personal decision, not the board's?
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I send the
All right,
newsletter
hold
to the
on.
board for input.
Okay, hold on. So,
Just checking.
I know, and I
Clarifying.
appreciate that, but this is public comment, it's not policy debate.
Right.
Right.
I'm gonna close this down. We're gonna reschedule this. Let's call for a special meeting. So if you guys wanted, if we as a board wanna pick a date right now, I'm fine with that. But we need to move along, cause we could be at this for the next 2 hours.
Brian, I do need to say one
That's
last
true.
thing though. I have had it unembedded from the website, from the town website.
Yeah,
It's no longer on your town website.
Discover Pownal asked us, we notified the
Yes.
webmaster, we,
Yeah, so I just want to let you know it's no longer there. I like your idea of linking it,
yeah,
but it is
that's fine.
still
So,
on,
again,
it is still
I'm-
on Discover Pownal's website on the homepage.
okay,
You can
I
always
appreciate
find
that.
it.
This discussion is now done. We're moving on. Let's warn a special meeting.
Thanks so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate everybody listening.
Thanks, Amelia.
Thank you.
So, when
Thank
do you guys
you,
wanna
Jenny.
try to pull a
Thank you.
special meeting? Anybody have
Monday,
any dates in mind?
Monday?
This coming Monday?
Monday works.
I thought this
Next week probably won't be good.
No.
I will be out of town on vacation.
All next week?
That's correct. Friday, Sunday.
How about, like, say,
That's right.
Monday's
well, that would put us in the
15th.
What about like the 22nd?
Okay,
22nd. It's open right now.
Will that work for everybody?
I'm pulling my phone out.
Yep.
25th, we got something already.
What time?
27th.
7 o'clock, either
7?
6:30 or 7. It's very hard for people to get
6:30,
here.
so we're not here forever.
All right, let's do Monday, the 22nd at 6:30. For a special.
Only for the website.
Only
please.
for the website.
For website policy, you mean?
Bob, will you be able to be here?
Well, just
What's that?
Will
website
you be here for
community
the
input.
22nd?
I don't think we're gonna write
I will be
policy
traveling,
next
I
week.
can call
No,
in.
can
but
call
I
in
need to
topics.
like take input on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Just start exploring, change, crafting it.
yep. What's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
Yeah. Okay, so, any more?
Well, just
Sorry.
to that point, I've already sent Michael, I sent you that, and we actually had it posted to our website last year, and it's never moved forward. It's been proposed multiple times. I think we need to move it forward. It's the website.
Well, I was gonna say, so print out your recommendation.
Right.
We'll
Oh.
bring that to the meeting and we'll go.
No, I think, well, yeah, I mean, we can bring printed copies, but do with the website policy the same thing that we did with the junk ordinance
yeah.
policy and post it online and let people
Comment on it?
send in their comments.
I'm fine with that. All right. Seriously though, we're done with this. We're
Yeah.
moving on.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
All right. Any more public comment? Okay. Town administrators report.
Time
Signature
you,
sheet,
Michael.
sir.
Don't start with that. We didn't time anybody else.
On
Busting.
more than one occasion, not just any particular meeting, we have signed documents, grants, vouchers, everything. And either they don't get entirely signed, or they do get signed, but we can't find them after the meeting. What dawned on me as we had for the expediency is say, well, go ahead and start signing it while we're doing something else. And I think that's really, probably not do that. What I'd like to do is say, we have to sign something and everybody has to sign it. Come down the road, sign it. We have a folder right here. Administrative assistant can take it and distribute it to wherever it needs to go, so that we make sure that we've got everything before we get up and walk away at the meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
We talked about the newsletter and the Hoosick Trail update, and we got Joel here. We need to get permission to bid on a 1-ton pickup truck. No matter what he said, I did not break it.
Well, seeing as this is the first I'm hearing of it, it sounds like an admission of guilt.
No, it's denial, total denial.
Well, he's been sitting quiet over there. I don't know.
Capital plan that we go by. I only made one copy, I'm sorry, I should have made
It's all right.
everybody one.
Okay.
Well, could you pick a smaller font?
To get it all,
He had to
to
pull
get
his
it all
glasses
on
Can I
one.
borrow your glasses?
I had to go print the fit, so it's a 2000, it's the last one there. It was slated to be replaced last year,
You said the 2000?
2006.
Oh, the 6. Okay,
sorry.
The highlighter.
You can-
Sorry.
yeah.
You threw me off when you said the 2000.
I'm
so I
sorry,
went down to
yeah.
that.
Oh, it's got 8 years left on it, Joel.
I know. But it's to the point, body-wise, skipping, and I won't mention who was gonna plow with it and broke in the first place, but.
This
It's
is normal
just-
capital replacement. The unit's dead. It needs
Yeah.
to be replaced. It's on time.
So do you have one you want to go look at, or just a generic one-ton?
I'd
you
like
can-
to spec it, bid it out,
Yeah.
is
Okay.
what I'd like to do, and
Yeah.
give, everybody a chance to bid on it.
Okay.
Joel, it was the 2006.
Six.
The
Oh,
highlighted
That's
one.
the
okay.
last
Say
highlighted one,
2016.
actually.
Yeah, I did the same thing. It's the highlighted one.
Okay.
You can circle it,
Okay,
or
yeah.
underline it,
Yep.
or whatever you guys.
So you already got specs that you all written up, basically?
No, actually not yet. I wanted to talk to you guys. We do have the money to pay for it. So there'll be no loan involved.
Okay.
Good budgeting.
So,
I
just see a motion
It's up to
to,
you guys.
yeah, a motion to approve the road crew foreman to go out and permission to bid out for a 1-ton pickup truck.
So
so
moved.
moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to
I didn't
approve
say
the road
second,
crew
I
foreman to go
seconded.
out and bid on a 1-ton pickup or put out the bid for it. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
A couple other things, I know I didn't have it on the agenda. I did meet with the land trust people today for that trail,
Yep.
Woods Road Trail. Really you can't run motorized vehicles on it right now anyhow. The way she explained it, we had a 5-year window when we started where we could have got into it, and it made it for motorized vehicle use, the land trust land. If you really want to do it, we have to have some meetings, we have to have town involvement to really show that, you know, the bulk of the town wants to do this.
For ATV use.
For ATV use, yes. So that's kind of what I got. If you really want to do it, then you really have to get proactive.
Yeah, because I believe the
on it.
wording
Have
was
some
something to the
meetings.
effect of it has to be a group that takes ownership of it.
Right.
And you have to have organized trails, an organized trail system. I think
Yes.
for a lot of this stuff that they're asking, I think we need an organized trail system.
Arlena has a question.
Yes, Marlene.
Is that something that you might want to bring next week to the ATV meeting
Or
to talk to John Bushy about? Because it's my understanding that there's a lot of motion on that, and he'd be the best person to discuss that
He's
with.
attempting
trying
to
to
bring
organize
an
it.
organized group
And-
in.
Correct, and so I think it would be good to have that discussion at that meeting.
Would you be available
Would you
to
be
go to that?
available?
Next
The 18th, Thursday.
Thursday,
At the
At
firehouse.
the firehouse right over there.
Yep.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Six,
Oh,
6 to 7.
Nelson
We're
has
gonna try.
Nelson.
The last time we did an ATV thing, as Linda can tell you, we held it at the firehouse, and people were out in the parking lot complaining because we didn't have enough room.
Really?
What you're gonna wanna do is probably use the school or someone larger, because from what I'm seeing on Front Porch Forum, that's what I kinda like to say. You're gonna have one block that's coming, and you're gonna have another block that's coming, and that's what happened there. And we were wall to wall with people inside, and it was people out in the parking lot. So, and we held it at that firehouse.
Okay, well,
Well,
either
I was
there or
gonna
at
say
the
we
Legion.
secured the firehouse already, but
Legion.
we've still got enough time. Mike, can you
There
reach out
at
and
the
try to
school.
see if you can get the school instead?
I'll try.
And if not, check
Thank
with
you.
Julie about the Legion. That room should be
And
big
if
enough.
and if not, we'll hold it outside in the parking lot.
Yeah, we'll do it in the yard.
Open the bay doors.
Yeah.
Harry's got a question.
Harry.
Can we get a copy, or I don't want it to, we have to scan it, but for us to actually be able to see the agreement with the land trust? I don't remember the verbiage of 5 years in there
Actually,
for the town.
Oh,
Oh, Joel's.
Wow.
I think Joel came prepared.
well, no, I didn't on that. I got, what they did was talked about the Fish and Game Club and the access to that, but you go back up here, this was a different, this one was in 2003 where they changed this section, and you kind of read through it, but I would go back up to this one recorded in 2002.
Book 126, page
Page
622
622.
of the Pownal Land Records.
Yeah, if I were you guys, and
was
just
it?
look at
22?
especially that, we had a
Public access
conversation
easement.
about that.
But you said this was for the fishing game camp,
126.
though.
Well, this specific one, but I mean, get the whole,
26, page 2.
Yeah, well,
the
this
whole
this book is
We'll
this
get
is
that
going to
and send it.
specifically reference
Okay.
the easement for the
Yes.
Pownal Fishing Game Camp, which is a separate property with easement across other different properties. The land trust property will be recorded in a different book.
That's all,
man, 7.
What?
that's all land trust property. It's really town property
Right.
with restrictions from the Vermont Land
Land
Trust.
Right.
On it is what it is. And basically, you can go back to those land trusts and negotiate at any time you wish. Now, I'm not gonna say they're easy to negotiate with, but they're reasonable people. For public use is what they want the land to be used for. And if you can prove that you're really gonna maintain something and take care of it, they're more than willing to work with you. They front the money for us to own it, let's be fair. And basically, but they do that specifically for public use.
Right.
Yep. And,
we've been holding
and that's what
hands.
we've discussed as a
Right.
board, is trying to open it up to public use.
We've been holding hands with them since the inception of getting the trail
So-
open.
So, I mean, that's the first step, was we getting the hiking trail open.
Right.
So,
They're good.
Right.
So actually, my only point with this, even though it just described, I'd maybe open the book and see what's
see how it's
written.
worded.
Right.
Especially, and easements, which we can go into another time.
Okay.
She gave me some pretty good insight on some of them.
Awesome,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
And even
Thanks,
if you
Joel.
read down through here, you'll find some on this specific easement that
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Thank you, Joel.
if Michael would be willing to dig out the land trust
You got the
paperwork.
paperwork? Oh,
Well, I got
the
this
land
that
trust.
Joel provided, but that,
I got the land
I
trust.
believe that is for the
you
fishing
have
game.
that on your
It's all right
computer
here.
anyhow.
All right, okay. What's this back?
Just forward a copy when you get
This
it
is
to the
it, right?
board so we can all
Thing
review
is
it if you
right
want.
there.
Yeah, this whole thing right there.
Oh, you already got it? Sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not me.
It's faster than Google. Thank you.
Can you scan that to me? and mail it to me?
All right,
Yes,
so-
you were absent the night that I had it on the table.
Thank you. Sorry.
I think everybody else got one, but it was
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago.
I can lend you mine, it's in my
Okay,
car.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so where'd we leave off then?
Meet and greet, you guys.
Meet
Hi,
and greet.
Joel.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Joel, thank you.
Hey, show. 17th, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We have a Chamber of Commerce sponsored meet and greet at the Solomon Wright Library. We've advertised this and we've sent out emails. The Chamber is advertising it. We've tried to get businesses together to mingle and talk and hopefully spur some activity on. Out of my discretionary account, I'm gonna get some coffee and donuts and so forth. And we'll have a good time. I hope somebody can make it.
What day and time is it?
That is July 17th, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., and it's at the Solomon Wright Library in Pownal.
Next Thursday.
I think it's Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah, it's
18th.
Wednesday.
I'll try it.
The next,
7 to 8
7 a.m. to 9.
that's 8 a.m. to 9.
Oh, 8 a.m.
to 9.
Why did I say 7? Okay.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, is for your review, possible acceptance and signing of the Vermont Public Record Inspection Copying and Transmission Policy. You've all received a copy of it online. This is what you had reviewed it last board meeting. I have not received any indication from anyone they wanted to change any items on it.
Oh. I don't know necessarily if I want to change anything, Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
You may.
So I'm speaking as a taxpayer, not as a select woman. So I'm Marlena Pownal, I live on Niles School Road. My issue with anything other than paying the mandated, I think it was $4 fee for the rewritable, for the
Recordable.
the electronic copying of the records that the state is mandating for municipalities, other than that fee, and just hear me out, and this is how I feel. I pay my taxes. The town of Pownal, this municipality, leases the photocopier and pays the lease agreement. We purchase all the paper. We pay for the maintenance agreement. That comes out of our tax dollars, which we pay. We pay the town clerk's stipend out of our tax dollars. I have an issue with, as a taxpayer, now getting charged a fee to get a photocopy of my property that I pay my taxes on. It's like I'm being charged 5 times to get a photocopy of my property, which I pay on every year. I just don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's fair. Now, I completely understand, let me finish please, and I support a FOIA request because that's time consuming, it's could be multiple pages, and the hours of work that you have to pay somebody to make those copies. But I just don't think it's fair to the taxpayers to have to pay for something that they pay on already. Multiple times.
Okay. Linda had something.
You can come in, any property owner can come in anytime and request a copy of the Lister card information, free.
Okay. But if they want a copy of something, they still have to pay for it.
Not for
No,
that,
she
it's
just said
free.
And that was the example you used.
Do we need to
Okay,
explicitly
so
state
let
it?
me explicitly go down the list of the 9 items that we're paying for. 33 cents per minute after the first 30 minutes of staff to physically duplicate a record. If it's one record, I don't know. For the town administrator, waste plant supervisor, road foreman, and information technology specialist, time spent extricating data from databases or performing similar necessary to comply with requests for a new public record. Some of them may apply. I just think that we need to look at it from a taxpayer's purview. Is the town clerk reimbursing the town out of her fees collected for the lease agreement, the maintenance agreement, the paper, the toner on the copier that the taxpayers are paying for?
Harry.
I don't believe a lot of this is on as far as the taxpayer purpose. I think this is primarily for legal, like if an attorney calls for something, you know, or whether there's some kind of filing or a court thing. That's how I believe this is more geared to. I mean, I could be wrong, but.
Copies of minutes.
Well, I know part of the discussion when this first started, the discussion I had with Mr. Walker, was he's had people calling up requesting information that he spent hours collating, combining and getting all printed off,
Right.
and it sat in his desk, and some of it still sits there, that they never came to collect.
And I agree with a FOIA request having a charge for that, because that's hours of his time at X per hour. That's a lot of money spent.
Yeah.
But to just come in and you have an attorney because you're either buying a property or more for the people who are community members now, and their attorney needs 5 copies of something. Why are they being charged for it? The taxpayers paid. If the taxpayer's been paying their taxes on it, why do they have to pay again to get the photocopies?
Can I, just a question, and I want to make a comment about it.
anyways.
Is that this pay? I mean, the verbiage in the policy, except for the pay structure, I believe, is direct from VLCT. Correct? It's and it's more about a FOIA request than it is about making copies. Than it is just about making copies of public information. We need to be very careful about how we approach it, particularly with a fee structure, because you don't want to be creating disincentives for citizens to ask for public information. If you're asking for it, you probably have a reason to have it. We also need to be very careful about things like 33 cents per minute. Well, I mean, I can see somebody really slowing down because this request is about my job. So we don't want to create those disincentives to make what should be public, and we need to have a process for how we do this, because what I've seen in the past, because I've asked for some records, and what I got was scanned 4 PDFs that were apparently, from what I can tell, printed and scanned. I could have done the same thing if I had access to the database in less than 5 minutes. In fact, it took me longer to make the document on how to go about doing it than it did for me to actually do it. So we need to be we need to make sure that our staff knows how to comply with a request, how to get the emails out, how to make the zip file, and email it to somebody. We should be charging for that. That's pretty simple.
Okay. And just another question that I have is items 7 and 8, audio tapes and videotapes. If I was to come in tomorrow and request something in an audio tape format, could I get it?
No.
Okay. What about a videotape format? So should we not list stuff like that if we have absolutely no way of providing it that way?
Well, we may have it. We may have technology sometime. Give them the YouTube link. They can download a meeting.
Mm-hmm. A link to the website or something.
Get your video.
So that's.
Can I look at your warrants?
Right there.
So I think I'm with you, Marlene, as far as I'm perfectly okay with the policy.
Yeah, the
because
policy, it's the fee structure.
Almost verbatim or verbatim from the VLCT is what I understood. The first time I reviewed it, it was. I haven't really compared it the next couple of times.
Right.
But I believe it is. It's the pay structure that I'm a little concerned about.
And the mandate from the state on the $4 fee for the technology to scan in the records for preservation. I understand that. I think most people will understand that. That's something we can't avoid.
I believe we have a question over here.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a statement. I looked at a variety of fees and made them lower than average for that specific purpose. So that's
Okay.
neither here nor there. If you don't like the fees, you don't like the fees. But I did not. I made them less onerous than most towns for that reason.
Thank you.
And maybe something like a threshold. If you're a citizen and if you're habitual and you keep asking for this, you get charged. You get like, I don't know, 10 free pages or 15 free pages a year.
Well, then we get into having to track who's recorded,
Right.
That's true.
who's requested
Right.
what.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Tracking that is free.
Right. Like, I remember during the town hall bid process, Mr. Walker made a photocopy of every single bid. And I don't think somebody came in and picked up the copy that they asked
Nope,
for.
they're still there.
And so
Yeah, stacked like this.
hypothetically, that was, you know, say 8 hours of his time or somebody's time to do that. We can't recoup it, but we paid the person for it. That's just, I don't know. To me, we could use the tax dollars smarter, more efficiently, wiser.
Well, that was part of the logic behind
The email.
requesting that people pay for it.
Right.
Like, if
For
you want
certain
want
things.
300 pages worth of documents printed out,
Mhm.
well then, at 5 cents a sheet,
Right. But
I get that, but if my attorney needs 5 copies of my property deed, getting 1 copy from the lister for free and having to pay for 4, to me, that doesn't make any sense. If I've been paying my taxes, give my attorney the 5 copies they need for whatever they need it for. So I'm subdividing my property. I'm not asking for 100 copies of something. I just feel that sometimes we keep taxing the taxpayers because we can, and it's just not appropriate.
We can make some of that stuff, like the proposals. We had 5 proposals. They were fairly beefy, and some of it was a little bit hard to scan. But we could have scanned those and put them on our website. Then you can charge somebody if they want to come in because they have the ability to print it themselves. They have the ability to download it and just read a soft copy.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can come in and look at records for free.
Yep.
So if you want to do your own research and look up your own stuff, you can.
call ahead and make an appointment. If it's not something timely.
Bring your digital camera and snap a picture of the page and print it out at home. Oh,
Michael, did the change from the state of Vermont get put into this policy for the mandate for the treasurer, I'm sorry, the town clerk for their $4 fee for, I
No.
forget exactly how they worded it?
I just saw that. No, it's not in there.
Okay. So at minimum, we need to get that in. And I would say, immediately, at least remove videotapes and DVDs and audio tapes if we have no way of making them.
Well,
Unless there's a mandate out there that I don't know of that says
what
we
if,
I think it only says we have to provide them an alternate to a paper copy if they request it.
what if somebody is blind requesting it? Then we may have to take and go above and beyond to do that.
Mhm.
or somebody has to read the document
Right.
into an audio format.
Right.
I didn't consider
I'm
all the
just-
variety of different caveats. I just followed the guidelines from.
Yeah, this is right off,
Yeah.
right from the VLCT.
So that's their recommendation.
Right.
To what extent it would be practical or even done on our
I would
lifetime.
recommend we keep the format of the VLCT. I mean, we can change the dollar amount structure. I mean, if we as a board want to make it free, you can come in and get whatever copies you want. It's absolutely free. I mean, I get your point. You're already paying your taxes.
So can we say something like for computer-generated paper copies, 2 cents per page for pages up to 8.5 by 14 inches, first 5 pages free?
They- As a devil's advocate, and just she expresses that she's paying taxes for that. Well, so am I.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if I'm paying taxes, do I have a right to make sure that the individual that's working for the town is doing the town's business and not stepping off to the side to accommodate someone who wants a stack of copies? That's just another way of looking at it. You take it or leave it. That's all I'm saying.
Nelson.
I think we got
To
a
me-
question over here.
Nelson.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nelson.
Fees for copies and stuff for the town clerk are set by the state. So when she makes a page of anything or
Right.
does anything, that fee will be paid because it's a state statute for that clerk who's an elected official.
Right.
Okay? You're not gonna be able to change that.
Right.
Okay, so where do most of your copies being made here? And what are you really talking about in the way of funding? I know that when you start paying $15 a page, you're gonna pay a lot of money. But if you're back here and somebody's paying $1.50 for the time that somebody spends, are we chasing the right thing here, I guess is what I'm trying to get after, because there's some things you're not gonna be able to change because it's set by the legislature.
That's a good point. Thank you.
I'd love to know if there's a way to get a report as to how much money is pulled in fees just for copies.
Every
Like
town,
right. I mean,
for your birth certificate, any of that, they charge for it.
Well,
It's gotta be certified, you know, with everything else, or notarized.
but I'd like to know what the grand total each year is.
So I think, basically, from
Well, I
what,
mean, we could make a request to the town clerk to provide to try to, see if there is a way to report it.
I think we're talking about things we're doing over here, not over there. That's-
right,
Right.
Yeah, this is, somebody coming in and saying, hey, I want all your emails from this date to this date,
Well,
type
we're-
of thing.
it has nothing,
Well, that would fall under a Freedom of Information Act request.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm done. I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
All right, so I guess
Have a direction for me to
make-
go with.
I personally feel that we sign it.
I'm
You
okay
know,
with this as is. I mean, Michael's gonna have to add the mandate from the state for the $4.
Correct,
So he's gonna have to reprint it, and then we'll have to sign that one anyway.
right, but I'm for the verbiage, because I know myself that if I've asked ahead of time to see something, I can come in and actually see it on my own. If I want a copy, or I can take a picture of it or whatever with my phone, or if I choose that I need a copy, then I'll have to pay for it. I know that, once we sign the policy, I'll have to pay for it, but, I mean, that's anybody's right. Because somebody may just be coming in for just an informational thing, for a clarification for their own self, where they just need to look at it and read it and then put it away.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
And-
that's where
and I
I
mean,
feel
You think you're okay with the pay structure?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm okay with
I am
the pay structure.
because,
I just don't want it to be I mean,
A
if
deterrent.
that's true.
I don't
want it to
think
deter
this is a
freedom of
high enough amount to
information.
be a deterrent, though.
Well,
I
it
mean,
depends on
I'm
how
open to
it's
debating and tweaking the amount, but I mean, hear me out. I mean, I've known a few jerks in my life. You get somebody who comes in here and says, "I want to make," we do it for free. Say, "Well, I want to make a photocopy of this," and decides to print off 1,000 copies,
exactly,
By accident.
Yeah, that's true.
or on purpose,
right. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's free.
And I
There's
mean, it's
nothing
reasonable, it's not.
Well, it's my right. It's free. You don't have a policy saying I can't do it, so I'm going to run off every sheet of paper you got.
Well,
Right,
I think
and
Michael already.
I agree. I think we need to make sure that people aren't abusing the system, but we also need to be 100% sure that we're not putting forth any, if somebody asks for electronic copies, for example.
That'd be free.
If I call in and I say, I want everybody's emails, if the town then, I want all the emails that went from here to here about this topic, blah, 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 that should be the default should be to adhere to that through electronic means. Send them the zip files with the emails. Don't print anything. Don't scan anything. Don't spend all that much time on it. If somebody asks for printed copies, then I would say, yeah, that's
where I'm at
probably
with this.
something that we need to charge for. But I also don't want it to be a deterrent.
So, Bob, I have a question. Obviously, as we continue to move forward with technology improvements, Michael's looking at getting more and more stuff put up on the web. That'll decrease the need for copies.
Yeah.
As Julie's mandate is to make copies of records and whatnot electronic, that'll eliminate some of that. But you made a good point with the zip file stuff, and individuals are only going to do what they know how to do based on their knowledge. And
That's very
so
true.
is that something that we would have to put into procedure?
I think so.
Like write a
That's why-
procedure and teach everybody how to do it?
That was kind of my attempt. I didn't send it to the whole board, but I created.
By
a
teach
document that I
everybody, you
sent
mean
to Michael
staff?
that
'Cause
is-
Well, that's
It's not,
whoever.
you can't really
whoever,
teach the general public.
No, but whoever
staff.
would be responsible for consolidating all of the information into some sort of an electronic format zip file.
Yeah.
Well,
Whatever.
And just to be clear, that's very easy when the request is, I want to see all these emails. It's not easy when I want to see public records or get a copy of a public record. If you're pulling something out of a file cabinet, you have to make a copy, or you have to scan it and get a PDF out of it. I think there's two very different things here: a Freedom of Information Request Act and somebody who wants public records. Those, I think, are two different things. Correct? I mean, one is covered by Freedom of Information Act. There's a whole act associated with it.
Yeah.
So, depending on what that is, it's just like everybody has the neighbor that complains about everybody, but everybody also has that neighbor that everybody complains about. So you can see abuses on both sides. I can see somebody coming in and just abusing the system and asking, I need to copy this, I need to copy that, I need to
Yeah,
copy
just
this.
tie up the entire office staff all day.
But I also don't want to. I want to make sure that this doesn't start something that a future board would use and evolve, because this is a perfectly ethical board. The next board may not be. So they may be jacking these rates up in order to. I don't want to see any disincentives.
Nelson
on
has
getting
a comment
public
right
Michael's already put them.
Hold on, Marlena. Nelson
I
had his
think
hand
what
up.
you need to do is you're addressing what the cost is and what you think there is. We already put a bunch of the lister stuff up on the webpage where people can go look up properties and stuff now. You could put the whole grand list up if you wanted to, and people wouldn't have to come in here and look at the grand list. You could put up the whole card system so people can look up their properties. It's a decision of the board on how they want to structure the material for people to find. Your minutes, every minutes of every meeting can be put online. So think of what people are asking for mainly, and then decide how you want to present that to them. Is a much easier way than trying to say, well, how can I make sure people don't pay too much? What are they asking for?
That's a good point. And the more we digitize going forward, the less records we're going to have, and the less storage we're going to need, and all. I mean, a lot of
Same
other
goes with
things.
every deed.
Right.
Yep.
That's true.
Think about medical records. Because everything is electronic, you have access to your records through the patient portals. Now, if you want hard copies of the records, there's a flat $10 fee in some cases that you have to pay for a copy. Well, or even a photocopy of it. So it's more incentivizing to
Brian?
go into the portal.
Pauline?
There are a lot of people who are not computer savvy. So why not just have a minimum for residents to come in and they get 3 different pages. They can take their copy and have more copies made if that's what they wish to do. But give them 3-page minimum or maximum, something like that, free. And then after that, charge them.
Well, that was the only problem I think Brian had brought up, is that then says we have to track it. So that adds.
Well,
adds some
I guess we could just make it per visit.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter then, you come in today, you get 3 pages of whatever you want, then that's it. You're done for the day unless you pay.
Okay. Be prepared to say, didn't I see you here this morning?
Do really that many people come in and have copies made?
That's probably not that big of an issue.
No.
No, I'm sure they go days on end without having members of the public come in, but I'm sure there's other
Yeah.
days where they're probably pretty busy.
Right.
So,
It's here and there.
It's
Would
not.
you like
Tell
to
you
do?
what, we
So what-
need to make a decision.
Yeah.
Or at least give Michael a direction for
Well,
rewriting this.
I heard 3 people say that they're fine with it, so I think we take a vote.
Well, Michael's still got to make
still has-
recommended changes.
Right.
He's got to add.
You gotta have the
Get
other.
rid of 7, 8, 9, right?
Because we can't provide it.
Right. So we're gonna revisit?
I think that would be
Yeah,
the
I
safest.
think. All right, Mike. So make the change of adding the $4 fee from the state.
Got it.
And I mean, was it Harry that brought up the point if somebody comes in that's blind and they want a copy, we're gonna have to find a way to
Well,
make an
that's
audio
what I'm
copy.
thinking. If somebody
Well, we can't.
has a disability of some sort,
Yeah, you
we
can't
can't take and
discriminate.
deny them
No, you contact a translation service to assist them. I don't think we would be on the hook for figuring out how to do an audio tape to assist with that. I mean, one, I don't know if the technology
The VLCT
exists.
put it in there.
Right.
I'm sure there's a reason they put it in there.
This section right here, Michael, where all the
Pretty much copy.
1 through 9? Oh, okay.
Pretty much
I thought
copy.
you said that you went out and looked at this
He
stuff.
put the
changed the
fee,
prices.
changed
I changed
the
the
dollar
lower.
amount. he
Okay,
changed.
okay, I'm
He
sorry.
lowered
I made the
everything.
fees
That's what I'm
less.
saying.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I don't want to remove that
Okay,
because I
then
mean,
keep it.
That's,
I'm
All
fine
you want
with
is
the
the
way it
$4.
yeah, just add the $4 fee and we'll revisit it and then we'll have another half-hour debate and not make a decision.
Well, if that's the only change we're making, and
Right.
we've looked at this before,
Let's
we
get it
can
done.
actually vote on it with that change.
Okay.
And then just have them make the change and we sign it next time.
Okay.
yes.
Would that
Okay.
be all right?
I'm
Yeah.
okay with
Is that
that.
a motion, Bob?
I motion that we accept the
To accept this with the proposed
Vermont Public
changes.
Records Inspection copy and transmission policies with the proposed changes.
I will second
Yeah.
that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the approve said policy with changes. Any debate? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. That poor horse, we just beat that thing to death.
Yes.
You did.
You got a
Didn't want it to
couple
come up
of, you got a couple of stallions here to beat up.
Bring them on, my stick's still good.
The park policy is next. You've had this before you, sent it to you. And change, modification, signature, whatever's your pleasure.
We don't have any parks that we actually hunt in, do we?
Well,
Oh, the deer park.
our property across West Street,
Right, but that's not a park, right? That's, is
it
that
would-
property covered,
it would fall under,
the park policy?
yeah. But, well, that's basically what we had asked, is not to just generalize, like the town green park, but all our park.
The ballparks.
Well, but
Yeah,
I think
the
we would
ballparks
treat
are-
some town property, I can envision town property being okay for hunting, but a town park, of course not okay for
Correct.
hunting. So I think those are two different policies, right? I mean, just using hunting as an example, but there could be other examples.
Well, we can-
We might open up a trail for ATV use.
Right.
I'm sorry,
we don't
Nelson,
want
from where
them
I'm
using
sitting, like, you're right behind Linda,
And I'm
so.
just, I'm wondering if I should jump in on these things, but you brought up the ballpark.
Yeah.
When they have a little league team down there's more than 25 people there. Come on. Are they gonna have to sign up every time they use the park with 25 people? I mean,
No.
No,
where
they're
are we going with these policies, I guess is where I am, is this,
It says one-time event, Nelson. It's reservation for a one-time event. Little League is a Little League, they play ball, they
so
have a
everybody that does
season.
it on a regular basis is fine.
Right.
They have a league, they play ball.
Yeah, they have a league, they have to carry insurance on it, they use it on a scheduled
When they do
basis.
the movie down there for the kids in town,
Sure,
Yep.
those types of things.
Yeah, that would be considered a one-time event that they would have to apply for a permit for.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
But we're looking at two different policies. The first one is just the park policy.
Yeah.
The other one is a facility use agreement.
And we've seen all of these
Yeah.
numerous times.
Numerous times. The other, as to his point, there are many times when you voted to waive a fee.
Right, and I
Yeah,
think you said that the
absolutely
select board has the right to
Absolutely.
vote
They
to
come in
waive.
and you get little Johnny that wants to watch a movie, wants Dumbo.
Yeah, if
Waive
it's
the
a
fee.
community benefit
Yes.
event, then,
That's what I say, it's a community wide. Because they don't charge for the movie.
Correct.
nope, they just collect on the concession.
Correct.
And honestly, they're just using up what they have left over from the baseball.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a quick question on that. With the 4th of July celebration that we just had, because fireworks were included, how would we get around that when we
Hey,
implement this policy?
I wasn't here 4th of July. Where's this?
We waived
slate?
that permit, if I remember right.
Okay, so if you waive the permit and for something like that, then the
Right.
fireworks can still happen.
Right.
I wasn't here. I don't know what you did.
Right.
So essentially, we're just gonna pick and choose who we decide to make pay.
Well, it's for a public,
Yeah, well, that's that's the way it's going, is we're gonna pick
Well,
and
yeah,
choose.
but if I'm
who to
coming
hold
in,
it to.
I wanna take and use the venue for the area for a wedding, then that's a different thing.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
a
I'm-
pri- that's-
If
that
I'm
would be a
bringing
private
something
thing.
that I'm offering to the
Community,
public,
that's free.
the whole town, yeah, it's free of charge, for a community event, then most likely the board would take and waive the fee. That's where, I mean, because if we're not if the venue is not charging,
Well, do you want
and
to,
it's a community.
do you want to hard write that into the policy then?
Cash.
That if
It's
it,
not, it's part of your ability to do under statute.
Right.
Why- it's- You're rewriting statute, you have the ability to do that anytime you
well,
want.
well, what I'm asking, I mean, if you're having a private event or a pay fee event, then you should pay for a permit.
A for-profit event.
Yeah, for-profit event, thank
For-profit
you.
event, correct.
But if it's a community-wide, it's free,
Right. Non-profit,
then
community-wide,
it's, you know,
informational, whatever,
Right,
yes.
you get a permit, but it's free to get the permit.
right.
Right.
The only,
We're
you
saying
know,
it's okay to use it.
Yeah,
Right,
and it
I
also
just-
then reserves the date for you,
Right.
so we don't lend it out to somebody else.
right, and just that they adhere to, even though the fees being waived, that they adhere to the noise the noise
rules.
restrictions and the rules.
Yeah.
Clean up after yourself. Don't,
You would like me then to add a line that if it's a community event, this is waived, the fee is waived.
Well, that's what I'm asking the rest of the board, because we started debating, you know, where do we pick and choose?
I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Because I kind of feel like if we're gonna,
if it's a private event,
Policy.
there's there's a fee. If it's a community-wide event, then there's no fee.
my
That
thought
needs
is
to be-
taking the discretion out of it, that way we can't be accused of like, wow, so-and-so didn't have to pay for their event, but I want a similar event and you want me to pay.
Right.
Right.
No?
That's what, I agree 1,000%. It needs to be a clear policy that we, and we don't want the subjectivity on the enforcement.
Right. So if it's
How
a
would you like me to word this?
if it's a for-profit event, then a permit needs to be obtained. If it's a community-wide nonprofit event,
Fees will be
or
waived.
should we say community-sponsored nonprofit event?
Well, we need to define what that means. I mean, those, very
For-profit
nice.
is you're making a profit off of
No,
whatever
I
event.
understand what that means.
Okay.
But I can say that it's a nonprofit. Are we saying that you need to be a nonprofit, a recognized nonprofit, in order to qualify for the nonprofit event?
Right.
Because you can say that we didn't make any money off of this, we were just recouping fees, but actually make some money.
Right.
So say a nonprofit comes in and wants to do a tag sale, and they put the facility up, and they're not for profit, and they don't make any money. They just put the thing up, and they leave, and the place is a dump because they tore it up. Now we're on the hook for fixing it. So it goes back to you have discretion.
So do we say community-sponsored? Because if it's a community-sponsored event, there should be a community member that comes before the board to request the permit being waived.
Right.
And during that time, you say, sure, Ms. Guntlow, we will waive the fee. Please make sure that your event adheres to the policy rules and that you clean up after yourself and you get rid of your trash and blah, 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 blah.
But to Michael's point, it's a good point, is that, what happens if they don't adhere to it? They'll agree to it, and you don't adhere to it. So the way I'm thinking of it is, we need to have, if you're an established nonprofit, then you fall into one category. If it's a for-profit enterprise, then there's another category, but the cleanup is applicable to both. If you leave it a mess and we have to clean it up, we can charge either of you for the cleanup.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
We can invoice the bill.
Right, we can add verbiage that if it is not clean, if, the town will charge for the,
The cleanup or for any damage.
correct.
Do you want to charge a refundable deposit then?
No,
That's just a headache for the,
yeah.
Well, there's a user fee and security deposit in this,
are you
Okay.
reading the park policy or the,
the facility use agreement.
okay, we're talking
Oh, I'm
about
in the
this
park
different.
policy.
We're doing the
Oh, we're still on the
park
park policy.
Yes, we are.
We are dragging this
Yeah,
out.
this is like, we've already looked at it 3 times. What are we doing? Are we like,
So make a motion to accept it with the changes. Just
What
like we
are we good with, what are we changing?
the language about adding if you're a nonprofit, an established nonprofit.
That's
But we
in the
couldn't
next
give the
one.
definition,
Right.
right?
Right.
We're still on park policy, which is just
Oh.
regulating what you can and can't do
do.
while you're using the property.
Oh. Well, then I make a motion that we accept the park policy.
I second it.
Yep. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the park policy. Any discussion?
Just one last question, sorry.
Yes.
I'm
No,
not
go
quite
for it.
clear on what the answer was. This covers both of those recreation areas as well as, say, a park?
Yeah, anything that you consider a park in our town.
So we're actually setting a policy that says if the town owns the property, there's no hunting. If the town owns the property, there's no
Town park.
In a town park.
town park. But that's what I'm asking. And so the 700 acres is of Strobridge,
That's a
is
hiking
that
trail.
considered?
That's a hiking trail.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
That's not a park?
No, it's a hiking trail.
No, it's not, and I
Comes
believe in the
under-
land trust it states that hunting is allowed, does it
Yeah,
not?
hunting and fishing
I'm looking
are
at you,
allowed.
Nelson, because I know
I
you
just
know the
wanna
land
make
trust
sure.
Yeah,
language.
he just wants to clarify.
I just wanna
And I
make
know I
sure.
read
And
it.
you might have, once you get access, you might have somebody that wants to do paintball, set up a whole course up there for people to do paintball.
Right.
Because they do that in different parts of the state.
Right.
750 acres here.
All right.
Okay.
So that's separate. That's all I wanted to make
Yep.
clear.
I mean, do you want, we can add wording that this does not apply to that land over there.
Well, I
That
mean,
that
if-
is
if
under,
if the
under the
language
land
of
trust if language.
park is different than land
Hiking
trust,
trail.
then I think we
It's
don't.
completely
You could
different.
Nelson has
you could
something,
change the
sorry.
language very easily. Village parks. You got the one down in Pownal Village where they launched the canoes, which is considered a park.
Yep.
This is a park. And you got the one that he just did the trail in, which is part of a park.
Correct.
Would leave the forest out, because the forest isn't in the village zone.
Correct.
Okay, so village park, that's good.
So if
I like that.
you
That's a
put
good idea. Thank you,
town-
Nelson.
Town of Pownal Village
Village
Park.
Yep, so
You accept it with that, and I'll
Town
put
of
the
Yes.
word village in there.
Village
Yep,
Park.
put the word village in there and you're,
You're grooving like an old-time movie, okay.
Do you want to add an asterisk with the definition of what village parks are and actually list them though?
No.
no, because that's in our,
Okay.
because the village parks are identified in our town plan.
Okay.
Now, the other one,
Well,
All right, do you want to vote to accept this with the proposed changes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay.
moved.
All right, so there was a motion and a second to approve with the changes?
Now there is.
Okay.
Call the question.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve this with the proposed changes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Sorry, Michael. We were
I got all
looking at
night.
different ones.
I want to get out of here before 11.
Yeah.
the
So does Colin.
reservation for one-time event, you had some changes you wanted to make on that?
I forget what the changes were so long ago.
The changes were adding the term of the nonprofit
Okay.
versus the for-profit.
Okay.
And that's just with the changes that we already,
And
That
they
was
still
it?
need to come before the board for the nonprofit, they would still need to come before the board, and they should probably have to provide Michael with their nonprofit information, their nonprofit identification number, so that we know for sure they're a nonprofit.
So we're gonna word this then, if you want to use the town park, the only time you're gonna pay fee is if it's for a for-profit event.
A private, or for-profit
Okay.
event.
Private event for profit.
But a nonprofit requesting the use of it for a event, a community-wide event is fine.
Okay. Or if you want to hold, like Harry said, hold a wedding reception or something down there. You're blocking it off. You don't want the rest of the public being able to go in and out of there.
okay.
That'd be private. Yeah.
Okay. I am acceptable to those changes.
Do you want to do the
Does
same
anybody
thing, or
else-
would you like to see them first?
No. Can we motion to approve this or?
Are we agreeing on the language that he's gonna put in
We are.
Have
for?
any more to add?
I'm good.
Did we talk
All
about
right,
this with the
so
last one?
just to say,
Yep.
okay, so Michael has what he needs then?
Yep.
All right, so I make a motion that we accept the facility use reservation agreement for one-time event for over 25 citizens with the changes mentioned. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the facility use reservation agreement. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The next is discussion on the listers. If you recall, twice I I brought forward, excuse me, different scenarios, different configurations of use of our listers. I gave you one that shows maybe a $3,500 increase in the budget, whereby you have a actual assessor with a part-time secretary. They work very hard at being consistent and being here on a consistent basis. The considerations you have to have are the learning curve for the information, and how to become a lister, and what your comfort level is having 3 individuals that do it on a part-time basis that are elected. And it's quite frankly up to the public. But I gave you proposals that give you some options, and they're up to you whether you want to discuss them, table them. And again, I'm really proud of them. They do a heck of a job, but it's my responsibility to bring you options. And it's a tough job. It's hard to learn that job.
Go.
So, just a quick question. Right now, there's 3 listers. What's the stipend that they're splitting? Isn't it like 17 and change, 1,700 and change?
I don't have it in front of me.
Paid hourly.
They're hourly,
Paid hourly.
Right, but there's a budget line item of a certain amount of dollars that was budgeted
For wages.
for wages.
I don't have it in front of me.
And I'm assuming, as a town, once we exhaust that dollar amount, we don't continue to pay the listers, and I'm sure that they don't work for free.
Where's
Approximately
that mail?
30,000, 32,000.
I was gonna say it would be in that, what Ellen gave us in the mail.
Oh, yeah. I think it might be. That it? No.
No, it was the,
Ellen's report.
Right. It'll be in Ellen's report.
It was yellow, wasn't it?
yeah, I thought it was yellow. It was the mail folder.
It's in the mail folder. Yep.
You have it?
I think it's this, but I don't know what each column represents. And so, I don't know if this was the
Oh, is it up there?
request.
You don't have it underneath the warrants? No?
It's on the previous one.
Well,
That's the sheriff.
this was
I thought
just the
maybe that was a
attachment.
header from the previous
Right, if
page.
it was that to that, or if that's what it is. Because that's like a full-time position.
It pretty
Of
much
one
is.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're paying that much for 2 part-time
You wanna just get a copy of the
elected
town report?
officials, why would you, I don't know. But I might be reading it wrong because there's no headers, so I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm looking at. Michael, this is what, it's a little hard to read because it was blurry. That's what came in the email.
Oh, yeah.
But there's no
But
header,
there's no
we're not
header,
sure
so I
what
don't
each
know what the
column-
columns are.
Okay. Well, all the way to the right is the total wages.
But,
For all of
But
it.
that-
This was,
but that came in under,
it came in for a different reason. That's 32
Right.
She's right, 32,000, that's the total.
okay, so that is the
the
total
total.
that,
That's
that
correct.
all 3 listers, that's the
Right.
total combined
Right.
wages set aside for 3 listers.
Right.
Okay. $32,000. Okay.
Okay, so then,
I mean, I think we need to look at options. That's a lot of money. That's a full-time, that's equivalent to a full-time FTE. Full-time equivalent. FTE.
That's the point of the,
Right,
bringing you a variety of options.
right. And I do know that, and I don't have the data with me, but I do know that a lot of towns have moved away from having listers and hiring full-time assessors or part-time assessors based on volume. We're a small town, and I think most small towns our size have part-time assessors.
I believe that if we make that, if we decide to move in that direction, we gotta bring it to a town vote.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
you
No,
would be
have
trying to eliminate
Elected
with
official.
changing an elected to an appointed
Right.
position.
Correct.
Right.
And the discussion is
And I mean, not that they're
centered-
not qualified,
No, it's
but
not.
when you're looking at that
discussion
total
has
dollar
nothing to do
amount.
with whether they're doing a good job or not a good job. They're busting their behinds. They're doing a
Right.
great job. They work very hard. It's a matter of have you reached the point where the tipping point where you decide you want to go in this different direction. And they are busy, and there's an awful lot to learn. So potentially every year you get one, maybe two new listers. Almost the
And then they have
entire
to
year is a
relearn
learning curve.
again.
Yeah. So.
Now,
Linda might be able to answer this. What's our historical changeover
I was just
on the
gonna
lister's
ask that.
position?
Actually, a couple of have been permanent fixtures.
I'll say Barb was here for
Barb
at
was
least
here
11
for-
years that I've lived here.
Yeah, at least 15 years. Before that, Doris was here for 30 years.
Wow. So it's not usually a
Yeah,
high
the Barbara
volume
was
of
here for a
turnover.
long time, too.
No, but as of recently, it has been kind of.
But would it be safe to say
When
that in
Barb
the last
left,
few years
when
with the
Barb
change in
left.
technologies and procedures, it's more responsibility?
Um,
Like a lot more to learn?
I'd say your pay scale has a lot to do with it, and no benefits.
Right, when you have 3 people splitting that's only a little over $10,000 each for a lot of work, a lot of responsibility.
It is a lot of responsibility.
And if they all
Nelson
put in
has a comment on this. Nelson, go ahead.
We did this once before and tried to do this. Most towns that hire a full-time person, appraiser, will also still have some listers, because they're the people that usually send out the measurements and so forth. So you don't get rid of all 3 listers, in their position you have some listers, and you have a full-time people. What they do now here currently is when they have that need, they hire someone, and that person comes in and works with our listers. The same goes when we do a full appraisal. So when you're looking at the dollar amount that you're seeing there that you're paying, there's money for full appraisals that you have in your funding. There's a lot more to listing than just having someone sit here trying to keep up with the book records. And one person, you won't be able to do that. And if you have to pay someone full-time and give them benefits, that person that's sitting there as you're running around out there isn't gonna do it. What are we paying them now, Linda? $12 an hour or something?
14
14?
change.
But what happens now is the gentleman from Nemrick comes in on occasion, we contracted with him, and we pay him. Nelson's correct. So, and what we're talking about, Nelson, is just that, having a hybrid of sorts to do just that. There's a couple different scenarios. You can have a part-time assessor, you can have 2 listers, you can have a full-time assessor with 1 part-time lister. You know, it's a matter of it's a matter of money, it's a matter of workload.
Well, you want to be fiduciarily responsible.
Yes.
And having somebody from Nemrick come in as a second set of eyes or to ensure that the process and everything's being done right, that's
And you
not
have-
bad.
You have pages of corrections that need to be made, and you have the potential for either losing or gaining taxes. You want to bring that gap back together as close as possible, so we're receiving the maximum amount of income we need.
Okay.
Efficiency, essentially.
Okay.
I wouldn't agree with the maximum amount, the correct amount.
Beg your pardon. That's probably a better terminology, yes.
Because some people might be underpaying and some people might be overpaying.
Maybe we want to table this for further
Yep.
thought.
Yeah,
think,
I think
absolutely think on it.
this might almost be worthy of a separate discussion.
Absolutely.
I mean,
There's no doubt in my mind.
And
But
anytime you discuss, changing an elected position to an appointed position, that's a big one.
Well, change shouldn't happen just because we want it to happen. Change should happen.
No, it would have. To me, it would have to be justified. You'd have to have good, solid reasoning.
Change should happen because we need to make sure that we're in compliance, that we're making sure that we're in alignment with our community needs, and that we're being efficient.
Well, that's,
So I think we need to look at, we just need to look at, all of that. We need to see if we've gone over. We need to see if we've gone over that budgeted line item. We need to add that, you know, what the actual amount is to the additional amount that we're paying for the outside people to come in. And then that gives you the true cost.
Well, that sounds
We don't
like
have that information right
Well, I was
here.
gonna say, that's information we can request Michael provide to us. And I would say after it's provided to us, then we can schedule either a special meeting or, depending on what we find, we can try to fit it into a regular board meeting.
Well, I think the community would want to know that, like, what's the overall cost to do that job?
Yeah.
And we're only going to get it by adding all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay.
Did Bob have something?
no, that pretty much covered it. I mean, it's I think we beat it to death.
We're consistent, though.
All right.
Next one is pretty easy. I'm going to be joining, I'd like to join as a
Nope.
chamber application.
Consideration.
No,
of
health officer.
Oh, health officer, that's, actually, that's pretty much a moot point. We have 2 to interview, I set up interviews for Tuesday. Unless you want me to completely repost for health officer. But
No, initially when I had told you to
Yeah.
repost it, it was in conjunction with wanting you to schedule interviews. At that time, we only had one applicant.
Yeah, now we have
And
2.
I was just trying to get ahead of the curve. If for whatever reason we didn't pick that one person,
Right.
we'd already have it posted. But if we pick that person, then we could always just pull the
And
posting
there are 2
back.
very good candidates, so,
Okay, just an FYI, did this job posting get posted?
no,
No.
you haven't.
Okay. Because I was looking at
No.
the date and going,
No.
what was the actual cutoff date for applicants?
I don't recall.
28th, I thought. It's June 28th, I thought it was.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is we extended the date for the zoning officer.
Mhm.
So if we don't extend the date for the health officer, will we be accused of?
Two
Well, I
different.
think one of the applications actually is one that came in
Yes.
late. So we actually are accepting one that
making
was
sure.
late. Because
I
initially
just
we
want to
had
make
the
sure that
one
we're
come
being
in.
fair,
Yeah.
because we extended it for what, another week?
One
It's
of
a
us
few days.
gonna be here for the interview process. Or
They
how
were
does
here
that
for the
work?
interview process anyway. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Harry.
You
What?
should.
I said, are one of us gonna be involved in the interview process also? or
I'm going to be, I asked Darcy if she would, I haven't heard back from her, but if you'd like,
Yeah.
it's 1 o'clock
Yeah,
on
and-
Tuesday.
Well,
I would like to be involved. I mean,
That's what I'm
depending
asking. I
on
didn't
when.
know.
I mean, I
1
know
o'clock
you
on
reached
Tuesday.
out to at least one of them.
Both of them, 1
Did
o'clock
they
on
respond
Tuesday,
back?
the other's one accepted at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, and then the other one will go at 1:25. That'd be at the wastewater treatment plant.
And that's Tuesday the 16th.
Yes,
I can try to skate out of work.
okay.
If not you, what about Harry or Elizabeth?
Yeah,
No?
And
Why
again, I
you-
asked Darcy, so
I can try. I can't guarantee it.
What's that?
you
But-
can't do it, or?
I'm out of town next week.
Do we want more than a 3-person panel or not? That's what I meant.
With 3 persons has been
That's-
basically what
yeah.
we've,
I just figured one of us was represented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like at least one person from the
So-
board there. So, I mean,
so-
if we get more, it's fine.
If you can't, let me know
Okay.
by Monday.
I was gonna say I'll check my work calendar when I get to work tomorrow morning, and then we'll
Let me
shoot you an
know.
If you
email.
can't, let me know.
Okay.
I'll be like the last resort.
Okay. I just,
Tuesday at what time?
1 o'clock.
1 and
At-
1:25.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
To let you know, I am applying for Chamber of Commerce, Bennington County Regional Chamber of Commerce membership for $85 coming from my discretionary fund. And doing so because they're assisting us with a lot of events. They advertise for us, and I get to go to some of these meet and greets, and I get my face in front of other businesses and start pumping up Pownal, trying to bring opportunities.
That's great.
That's the goal. So.
and part of that too is what the event is, the library also. That's
Correct.
chamber-
That's
chamber
that's-
generated.
yeah. Everything's generated from the chamber.
Michael, does that membership with the chamber, does that provide access or advertising or linkage or anything with the Better Bennington Corporation, the BBEC or whatever it is?
This is what's called the friend of the chamber.
Okay.
It's not a full membership.
Okay.
It allows me access. I get to talk to people in the banana nut muffins.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And the sign name for the trail has been done.
Oh,
We already
thank
discussed
you.
that.
Right.
Okay.
So you're on the old business.
All right.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you for
Sorry.
being ever so patient. You can wake up now.
Okay, I met today, or yesterday too, with the staff, and I revised plans. And I think you better turn it around this way, so you can see it. And maybe I better come around too, so I can explain it.
Do we want to invite Cat TV over to actually see this?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, it's.
You guys
No,
want to
they
go
can't.
mobile for a second, or you want me
They
to hold it
can't
up?
do
You have
that.
to pick it up and bring it over in front of them.
Pick it up and bring it in front.
All right,
Okay,
so
it's still paper.
And let us look at it for a minute,
I
and then
mean,
we'll
I didn't
hold it
have
up.
much time.
Patricia, you can come look at this too if you want to.
So, what I did was take and make the furniture. And this is the furniture that exists. And we laid it out. I got rid of most of the superfluous stuff so you can at least see how the rooms lay out. It's more open, as Marlena suggested, but there's certain doors that people still wish. When we came right down to it, they liked the idea of grouping the people. For instance, the assessors and listers are here. The treasurer, delinquent tax collector, if we eventually have two separate, are here. The safe, to preserve that small safe, this would be easy enough do because we could just leave this wall off and bring it straight through the entrance and put it in position and build around it. They wanted an entrance that was separate, and I didn't get the door put on here, so.
Like
A secured entrance.
Right.
Yep, well, and also it's good for heat loss.
best
There's a
Bless you.
kind of a
Reception area.
Waiting area.
reception area here, and you could get a few things in here, probably enough. I came up with the idea afterward. I drew this. Actually, if I put the door here facing this way, if there's an assistant town clerk, we could actually put a desk right here.
Okay.
And
So Pauline, is this still the main entrance for public, which is
No.
secure?
No,
this is the entrance.
Okay. So
And
it,
this is-
so it
this is
opens,
just-
it opens to everything.
It opens to everything. So then here we have the administrator, and she has a ton of files and desks and so forth. So she gets the larger office. Administrator only has one small file cabinet and a desk. So that's here, but maybe that's better anyway because he's more into this area. This hasn't really changed much. This bathroom's smaller, kitchenette, so forth. This and here's where the water goes. The janitor's right here. The bathroom here, and this is a storage or a potential office. This space right here is up for grabs. I have two thoughts about it. One, because we're going to vote in here, we could leave this open, or we can make it a closet or storage area or so forth. We do have office storage here. This probably is enough. Because Julie has that very large printer here. That took up a lot of space. Then we come in here, and this is approximately the same size as this table right here. We can put the voter booths in here. I'm not positive about folding chairs in racks. I'll have to check that out. if in fact, that, and this is an option for that too, if they won't all fit in here. Right here we have something Linda really thinks is important, and I can see that it is. It's a deliberation room. And it's just a very skinny table, but what we have is that we can get the select board and 2 more people in here, Linda and the town administrator.
Can we change the name of that to the Woodshed?
May I make a suggestion? At some place inside the building, there's a small section where you have encased in glass memorabilia and historical items from the town of Pownal.
Well,
Very historical place and lends itself to a...
That idea.
That's on the other floor, right?
we are
In the
history.
historical
In the
building.
history,
But
yeah.
I think he
room.
means just something in like the
Well,
public area of the
Yeah,
town
we
hall.
could, there's room in here to put, and we've got lots of wall space. I mean, you can do all kinds of cool things.
I would almost think if you're gonna do
Yeah.
something like that, you got the reception area,
Yeah,
just something on the wall right there.
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
we could
Ma'am,
do that.
Where your offices are, so people know where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys can't see upside down very well, but, so, and then,
So, here's the conference rooms.
The
conference room.
deliberation
This is here.
room one here.
Yeah.
and then we have, well, this is extra, but we have, this is pretty open. And this is for zoning, and for DRB and planning board. And I was talking to the gal today, and I did put in 3 desks. Oh, well, this is more file cabinets. So this could be extra chairs in here.
The zoning administrator really needs a table layout drawings and plans
For
like you
plans.
got right there.
Right,
The
so-
desk is,
Secondary.
That one.
Okay,
Right.
not even, don't
It's more
use
of a
the
flat
desk.
you
top
don't use the
table.
desk.
Okay.
What you're gonna use is the table, and then you need
Okay.
someplace for files to put
Okay.
your stuff.
Okay, so files and a desk.
Thank you for
I
your
mean, a
input,
table.
zoning administrator.
I mean,
And,
you don't spend any time at a desk.
okay, all
You're
right.
gonna have I assume in the room you'll have one place where there's a computer where people can log on, look up what they need to look up and do, and they'll print it out, and
Yeah,
that's it.
okay. So,
The
the-
health officer, zoning, all those people can use the same computer like they do today.
Oh.
So
Okay.
the table
So
that
this
is
could be
used for
a-
the zoning officer can actually double as a small conference room area
Yep.
when you're not here, or
That's right,
when
with a
the
table,
person's
put a
not
table
there.
in it, and you go and sit down.
Multi-function
Awesome.
room.
I'm glad you guys all got to meet.
yeah,
Talk
and
about it.
actually, Linda and who else will live this down to the schoolhouse?
Oh, just myself. and
Just you, okay. I mean, once you see the schoolhouse, it's much larger than you think it's gonna be. It's a nice space. Do you wanna see it right side up?
Well, no, for some reason I thought you have, this is a non-movable structural wall, and so is this. For some reason I thought there was another one down the middle.
Oh, well, they can hide it. They had all their information, and it was too confusing for people to, the
see
staff
it.
to see, so I kind of whited it all out. But it's pretty much it.
There's a structure
This in
wall,
here
they put pillars there.
is the maps, are the maps.
Instead of the structure.
We may
So-
end
instead of a
up
full
being
wall.
able to hang them sometime, but
I don't know if there's
We can put
limitations
them in
on
the
it
vault.
being
Right.
Did,
modular.
did the town clerk, did you ask if she would be interested in that extension that you had talked about? You know how you had said that I think it was here, that you could
Oh,
get
for
a
the
little bit
vault.
more extension for the vault?
I actually, we didn't really talk about that per se. I think really the best thing to do is just remeasure it and make sure if we need it, we do it now.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep, yeah,
And-
so yeah, I would definitely say double check with her because of the
Yeah.
volume of records that we have and make sure that that size vault is going to be
Yeah.
big enough.
Yeah.
You
So-
definitely change the flow and there's good span and control in there if there's an incident.
I'm still concerned about I'm just still concerned about it being so open to the public. No security measures
Well,
to.
there's gonna be a door there.
There's a door.
When they come
This is
in,
gonna,
that's-
this is
there's
gonna be a door
there.
right?
So
Yeah,
that they
but
can't-
how does
they
how
can't-
do individuals get through that door?
Through this door. And then
They just
then
walk
they're
right in. They
then
don't need
they're
to be
the
buzzed in or
entrance.
anything.
But
That's what
they-
I'm saying.
They never have. I mean, is that a problem for us?
It's a
how all the other ones
it's
are,
a
though.
consideration.
Yeah, but
I
we
know,
can-
but
It's,
We can add electronic, an electronic.
oh, you could do that. Yeah, you could buzz that.
it's less
I know where you're going.
expensive to
Right.
do it now
That's right.
Right.
than to
Card-
do
if
it
you
down the
put
road.
Card
It's a-
access on those
Right.
two doors, any employee will come in and out with a card,
Right.
and you've electrified the doors. And if you want to get to the point of a buzzer,
Right.
then you can do that.
And do a
But until
release.
then, you can limit hours with the main access.
Right.
Or you can open it up by pushing a button, and people just walk in and out.
Right.
I know that community members, that was a big thing with them, is to make sure that we considered security.
Right. I
It's
do
just the
card
world we
access.
live in.
Because you can turn it on and turn it off,
Uh-huh.
card
Right.
access.
Uh-huh.
It's not like that over there. With
like
a
the
card access,
courthouse.
I can program it all,
Right.
and you're gone.
Then just put a doorbell there, so if someone
Nowadays, they
has
just
to ring
use
the
a
bell
No,
for
it's just,
somebody's attention.
it's, well, you know, at the courthouse, you walk up, there's a window. Person comes up to the window, can I help you? Give them your information.
Stamp.
If they need you to go back to where everybody is, they buzz you through. Otherwise, you just
Yeah,
walk
well,
up
if
and you
Julie's sitting over here though, and
pay
somebody
your
comes in
parking
here,
ticket and you go.
That bothered me too. And because she's going to face this direction,
Well, there could be a window on that other wall.
this along
Yeah.
here. And then the
An
other
upper-
thing
upper
I
window.
thought,
But then that's not
could
customer
even do
service.
the angle thing so that
Yeah.
they would go this way.
So,
That would make it a little, without wasting
Right.
space.
Right. And having a vestibule or airlock, it does help with heating and cooling.
Yeah.
And it's easy enough to take and put an electronic door on there. I mean,
but
Right.
couldn't these two flip?
Well,
Reception area here, door closer to the
Well,
town
the
clerk?
only problem is aesthetically, it doesn't look so good
right.
from the exterior. Really, it looks like, why did you go all the way there?
Yeah.
The hallways seem more than generous,
Disagree,
but when you think about setting up for voting, that's why.
I didn't quite understand when you said about the one down the center. Was that, we were asking
thought
about the
it-
load-bearing wall?
I
Yeah,
thought
was that-
originally, because it's modulars, and I thought it was, you know, 1, 2, I thought it was,
Yeah, but here's what
3.
they do. They put in steel beams up there so
Right.
they can have an open space. You
Right.
can still support it,
Right.
so it's not,
It's just
that
what you
shouldn't
said.
be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know from experience working with them.
Nelson, feedback?
The only thing I see is,
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
got very few people working in the office,
Yep.
Yeah.
and this kitchen is almost bigger than any office you got.
Yeah.
Well, we
Well, they
can
eat a
make
lot.
that, we can make that smaller.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that if there's any wasted space in my mind, it's a place that you only use when you go to lunch or break, and you've taken up so much space with it between counters and sinks and the rest.
Well, what we can
Well, there
do,
should
we
be a
can add
sink.
more here. I mean, the gals would like to be able, the staff would like to be able to eat in here.
And I think
It's
that's
a
fair.
kitchenette slash break
Right,
room.
and I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
Break area?
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Is that the square footage or
No, that's just a door opening.
3,068, just a
No.
number?
3068.
So it's a door, right? 30
Right.
inches, 30-inch door?
Yeah.
It's a,
Door, it's a,
it's a 3 foot meter.
it's a drawing
36.
designation for a door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Usually it's 3.0 means 3 foot. Then
And they
8
have different,
plus 8
they have different designation for windows and doors and on plans.
So it's a 40,
It'd be
42
interesting
inch
to see
door.
what the square footages are of these spaces.
Yeah.
I had them down and then I took them out.
Thank you.
You leaving us, Nelson, or you're just sitting down?
I'm gonna get out. I interrupted you guys enough.
No, you're fine.
Thank you for the feedback.
As our
I'll get a
state
chance.
rep, you're always welcome.
Thank you. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, we could make this a bit smaller. And add a
Well, you talked
One
about
or
that this
two.
could be
A
potentially
storage
used
or
for
office.
storage or office.
Yeah.
So that could be a second.
So I was just thinking, I mean, if if the ladies want to be able to use it as a break room, would it be better to just kind of move the wall over, keep the kitchenette separate,
Yeah.
then they could
Yeah.
go into a larger break room, and then
You're
if
right.
need be in the future, we could utilize it for office space.
Oh. You mean eliminate this now, this wall?
No,
No.
move
No,
it.
move it
You say
over.
Oh, yeah.
move it
Yeah, we
over.
can
So
do that.
pretty much you would have
We can
their
do-
countertop and
Okay, but here's the thing, it has to be handicap accessible.
Right. So
true.
it's gotta
So
have 4
that,
feet.
that's, yeah.
All right.
So I could probably scooch out another
No, no,
foot or,
I wasn't thinking handicap
Right.
accessible.
okay,
You're right.
Right.
I wasn't considering that.
all right. Any suggestions?
It's getting hot in here.
Okay.
I would just
Yeah, it's all bad.
right now I'm not seeing how we could make it work, but I would like to be able to see Julie facing
The entrance.
the entrance somehow.
Turn her desk.
Because right now, like she would
Okay.
almost have her
Well,
back to them,
well,
staring at the record room.
Yeah, but she kind of wanted to.
Okay,
She wanted to because of the
because of the counters.
books.
Okay,
Books.
so she could keep an eye on it.
Oh,
She needs
Yeah.
to-
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
watch
yeah,
the
yeah.
books.
Yep.
And that
I
makes
get
sense
that.
because if
That
you think
does
about
make
how the
sense.
Sunderland one is, the
Yeah,
clerk is
she's
facing
facing-
out
Right.
and all the counters are out in front.
Yeah, so they can
Right.
watch what's going
Yeah,
on.
that totally
Okay,
makes
I get
sense.
that. Okay.
I mean, what I could do is this, that pencil.
Oh, we could just have a security system right at the
Oh,
door.
I'm
that
almost
just
wondering,
lets
could
let
we
people
do
in.
all of
I can
this
see
in
this.
Well, they
this?
can't see
Say
them
that
from the
again.
door.
Right.
What if we?
Just a video thing.
I mean, for security,
Mm-hmm.
you wall this and this. You make this your reception area.
Julie didn't want, she wanted to be able to see
Yeah.
the people coming in.
Right.
But what you could do maybe is this. And this would give her more visual. We
Oh,
could just,
put
then
a
come in at an
angled window
angle.
in there.
Yeah,
Or,
a door.
Or put
A
the
door
door that
and an
way.
which would be a glass door, full
Yeah.
glass door. We could do that.
That's a good
But-
idea.
Okay.
And that would give
So-
security to
Well,
the
if we-
rest
well,
of
if we
the
do,
facility.
If we
Yeah.
put a door that way, you're gonna want a window at least facing the town administrator. That way he can see from his office.
Well,
too.
this could be glass too.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, it just,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that makes sense.
that way you can see if somebody's screwing around out there
Linda,
or whatever.
input?
Okay.
You're in the back. Said Linda, input?
I've already given so much input, I'm like, put
Okay.
it out.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
put it out.
Well, I like
the
the
way she
fact that
described it,
doing-
that's what I'm saying.
Right, but doing it that way, now you've secured the facility.
Well, it was,
By putting the door there.
With the exception, yeah, because even the listers, because the wall is before their door,
right.
it provides that extra security.
Yeah.
And I think that that's fair. I mean, we want people to be safe.
And I like Nelson's idea of putting electronic door card. I like that idea. And then the town clerk can just have a buzzer to where she can be able to look over at a glass door. If it's somebody she doesn't know, be less likely to just buzz them in randomly.
Right, and there'd
The
be
other
a
thing
doorbell or
those two
something
doors
like that.
probably should have is a handicap accessible button. Once that is released, the inside one is a push button on the outside. I know they're about $3,500, you know.
Is
some
that
they're
is
not.
that a
Requirement?
yeah, is that a mandate
It's-
requirement?
No, you can have a,
You can
push-
have a
the
panic
push
bar, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm just, I don't know how many 80, I mean, we have some elderly people in town, and
Yeah, you put too heavy a door there, they won't be able to move it.
that's kind of where I was,
With
I,
assist.
like I say,
With the hydraulic assist.
it's
Well,
not,
that or if they just push the buzzer,
well then somebody.
and
Say they need
somebody
help.
can go help them and open the door.
so.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, Pauline.
And then, I don't know if you wanted answers to Michael's questions, but I didn't.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to read through them, or you want me to read through them? Okay, the
I
state,
think the board's actually, everybody's reading it quietly, but you can read them out loud while we read it, if you want.
Whatever you want to do.
okay. Well, why don't you just read through it and not ask me questions, how's that?
Oh, would you like to hold that up for the camera to see? People at home probably aren't gonna be able to see too much of it unless they zoom right in on it, but.
Oh, that's not very flat.
Hey, hold it still for him. I think he's trying to pan around on it.
The new proposed town hall,
Yeah. So far.
work in progress.
You want to talk about the town the town hall office website that,
Oh, yes, Joyce is going to be sending, Joyce Hill.
Yep.
Information.
She's with who?
Oh, the Historical Society.
Thank you.
She's gonna be sending, information. She's on vacation right now. She should be home this Saturday to put on the website.
Are you able to do a narrative?
Pardon me?
Are you able to do a narrative to add to the site, or do you want us to put the drawings, you want to put them up on it, or open it up, or so that people can see the drawings? Were you going to do a narrative? Let me, Jen, talk to you about that.
No, I haven't heard about that.
Okay, what she was waiting on, and I thought, I'm sorry, put some kind of narrative about the plan. Otherwise, I can tell her to open it up, that way people can see the plans. Because it's not on right now. She's got the site, there's a link to it, I saw it, it's got all the drawings, but it doesn't have any kind of, any explanation or anything. But if you want me to just open it up.
Yeah, I can say something to that.
Yeah, and I guess maybe, just give me a call tomorrow, we'll talk to Jen, and I'll kind of see what she's looking for. And if nothing, then we'll just open it up, because all the drawings are on the web, we got a website link. We just put it right on it.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
I have two questions regarding the questions that we asked of Ms. Gutlow. There's a question here that says water testing quantity and quality. Michael, can you clarify that a little bit?
You have to have, through Department of Environmental Control, there has to be permitting. Water has to be tested.
Right, and I think, gee,
That's
this would be a good job for you, Michael, if you would like to do that. That would be nice, if you want to do it. Take it on.
Who's accountable for that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can do it,
Who is that?
but
The building code.
Yes.
it's my responsibility, really. But
Okay.
if you want to assist,
And that was, I had made that recommendation in an email, I think, and that was my only point on it. It wasn't to say that there was appropriate or inappropriate anything. It was more around not wanting multiple, too many cooks, the whole nine.
Yep.
So I would think that making sure that we're adhering to all of the state requirements, making sure that we're adhering to it. But I think as the project manager, Pauline, you probably should be the one that reaches out to the state, that talks to the state. I just don't want to see a situation where you're asking one person in an office, she calls, gets another person, and now you've got two people working on the same thing.
I don't intend to, that's.
And that's,
yeah.
so
I expressed to her that if she had any problem navigating that, because I know those people,
Yep.
then I'd be there to help.
And if,
Right,
and
and
if
if we,
you need more sorry about that.
just my last thing was, so if we know that this requirement is there and we want to check up on it, I think the right avenue is to ask Pauline, and Pauline checks up on it.
Correct.
I think
I
that's
provided
fair.
her with some of that.
And you're
Well,
okay with
that's
that,
good.
Colleen?
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought,
And just ask any
Maybe
questions that
what-
you need.
pardon?
I said, and just make sure that you ask any questions of
Oh,
Mr. Walker
believe
that
me,
you need.
I'm really good at asking questions.
Okay, the next question that was listed was
Yeah.
application for local nearest contaminated soil. And the response was, do not understand this question. So I don't know if you,
Yeah, it's just, most of the time you do soil testing, the area with the PFOA,
is it required, I guess is the question.
it's suggested. I don't believe it's required, no.
There was an existing building there, they were growing a garden there.
High on.
I was gonna
it's a
say, I
high
remember
priority,
Oak Hill
no.
had gardens down there.
It's not a
Well,
high priority.
if you knew they say they had a old gas garage with a gas station, then you would, because it's possible known contaminant, then you would take and test for something like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Okay.
almost like a quasi phase one.
Okay.
Make sure that nothing's there that would,
I
cause
just-
us-
Okay, I just wanna make sure that we're not listing things that are, I don't wanna say arbitrary, but.
No, it's not
are-
arbitrary.
Right, it's.
Just as he discussed, I mean, if they had a big oil tank down there and it leaked, do a soil sample and find out, you know, we gotta do some remediation,
Right.
showstopper. But we considering the structure that was there and we know what was in it, you know, it's listed, but it's not something that rises above everything else.
Okay.
So I have a question in regards to the question, is there site evaluation or civil engineering of the lot? It says, given this project is typical lightweight commercial construction, when excavation commences, if any unusual conditions are found, a civil engineer will be contacted at that time. Do you have one lined up that is your
Yes.
preferred choice? Okay.
Yes, I do. As
Well-
a matter of fact, I called him about that question.
Okay, and do you have potential cost estimate figured into your budget? Or
For that?
as a contingency, I mean.
As a contingency, that would be probably not very costly at all, because in fact, my son owns the engineering company, and the engineer lives here in Pownal, one of his engineers. So, and it actually only costs about $75 to test the soil. So it's not.
Right.
Okay. Oh, Ryan, here he has a question.
Yes, Harry.
The part that, not just the soil testing, but the site plan, when you talk about site plan, you're talking about your stormwater runoff. In here you mentioned, you know, drainage around from the site. That's all part of the A&R and, with that, permitting process. It has to be an approved, thing, so you have a catch basin for all your rainwater before, or parking lot in case of any oil dripping out of the car.
It doesn't just immediately go into the nearest
Right,
stream.
it goes into a catch basin, natural earthen catch basin, and not just into a drainage system that could be affecting.
And somewhat of it goes to some of the conversation you had regarding the location, suggesting it go on flat land versus here. If it goes here, there's site work to be done.
Yeah.
You know, which is civil engineering, and your son's a civil engineer. And just, you know, the question was, you know, elevations, parking, all those things as part of the whole site civil engineering, which she has that kind of dialed in, so that answers the question.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions about the questions? Okay. All right. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you.
It's very informative and
Yeah. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, no, we just need to get,
We'll start seeing on a more frequent basis.
so
like Joe.
I had asked Mike to have it become a standing agenda item for every scheduled board meeting to get an update, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And are we waiting for Ms. Health to get back from vacation to pick a date to do a community presentation and everything? Or am I completely drawing a blank that we
I thought
selected
we
a date?
decided those dates.
No, we hadn't
for
decided.
the
We had started
presentation.
discussing it on what we wanted to potentially try to shoot for.
Okay.
And
That's
we
just
had
reminded me.
decided kind of unofficially that it would really depend on where it fell as far as changes we wanted to make to
That's
the
right.
initial drawing and
Thank you.
go from there.
Okay.
So, I mean,
So as soon as I can get preferred builders to put this together,
Okay.
that should do it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Pauline.
does anybody have any other changes that they would like to see made or suggestions before Pauline contacts Preferred and have them change the design and
See if they'll knock like 100,000 off the price tag.
wow, that's ambitious.
Girl can dream.
You're a hard negotiator.
You just lost the windows.
So nobody gets.
We
I'm
can
in a
put
dungeon. I'm
pictures
in
of
a
the
dungeon
outside
office.
up.
Everybody else can be in a dungeon office.
And the Skylines.
Okay, so
Great.
Thank you, Pauline. Thanks, Pauline.
what do we got? The personnel policy.
No.
Everything error.
Yes, the personnel policy.
No, personal.
No. We have new
Sorry.
business, re-sign of the COI,
Yeah, that's it.
due to the error that I made on page 2 and beyond. I'm gonna send it around based on Michael's policy change for signature
So,
pages.
motion to approve, we have to approve this because it's,
I would like to make a motion to approve the change of adding the town of Pownal to pages 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the header.
I don't think we
No.
need a motion for that.
I was gonna say that was the
Okay.
only
No,
change,
just
right?
because we're
That was the
changing
only
it.
change.
Right, it's a correction to the,
Yeah, we had already approved it.
Okay.
Okay, so that's going around. Make sure that everybody signs
and
it.
she signed in green.
What was that? My green pen?
I didn't like that.
All right.
It's alright, I've got red.
Never sign anything in red.
Oh,
It doesn't show up.
Perfect. Just kidding. I'll sign it in blue. Alright, so once that's all signed, we will
Make a motion to
no,
go
executive.
into executive
Go into-
session.
Mr.
for
Slattery will not be here, so. okay.
Oh,
You know, I was wondering why we hadn't seen him. I thought maybe he was kind of waiting outside the door. Alright, so strike that.
So are you gonna report for him,
think
or
Brian needs
he's
to
just
sign
not?
Yeah, I gotta sign it.
Yep.
Speaks for himself.
All right,
Yep.
so
No, I
motion
didn't know
to
if
go
he-
into,
You said that if he left 2 minutes, he would.
right?
Let Brian sign first. Who's got the folder?
Linda? Thank you.
Oh, here, could you give Linda the paperclip?
Michael, I actually don't have a folder.
Nope, I'll take this one because I have the whole.
Well, I was gonna say she doesn't have a folder. That means one of us does.
I'd like to make a motion that we enter executive session for personnel.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to enter into executive session for personnel. All in favor? Any discussion? I would say let's have a 5-minute recess for bathroom breaks and give Cat TV a chance to pack up and
Yeah.
leave.
Is there something I stay for?
I'm drawing a
I don't know.
complete blank at the moment. My brain's misfiring at the
Hold
moment.
on.
I'm not sure what about either.
Yes.
I stay for this?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll go Tampa.
So.
All right, so-
All in favor?
All in favor of taking a 5-minute break before entering into executive session? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
So we're taking